Can you truly feel the Star Wars galaxy? The subtle hum of ancient power, the chilling whisper of forgotten lore, the very heartbeat of alien worlds teeming with unimaginable life awaits. Prepare to dive deep into the hidden corners. We will uncover truths that redefine everything you thought you knew. Let's begin. Part 1. Lost Civilizations, Ancient Technologies, and Cosmic Mysteries. The boundless expanse of the Star Wars galaxy stretches across countless parsecs and millennia. Within its star-dusted folds are the echoes of civilizations that rose and fell long before the Republic's ascendancy. These are not merely footnotes in galactic history. They are entire societies. Their impossible technologies and encounters with cosmic mysteries continue to baffle and inspire awe. They hint at a past far richer, stranger, and more profoundly complex than commonly known. Among the most enigmatic and ancient of these forgotten peoples are the Qua. This species comes from the verdant, mystical world of Dathomir. Their existence dates back at least 100,000 years before the Galactic Civil War. These beings were not merely technologically advanced. They were true masters of energy manipulation. Their understanding of the Force was woven intrinsically into their very civilization. It was almost mythical in its depth. The Qua possessed a profound spiritual connection to the Force. They viewed it as the fundamental fabric of existence, not just a tool to be wielded. Their physical appearance was slender and graceful. They had elongated limbs and heads. Their skin often shimmered with subtle bioluminescent patterns. These shifted with their emotional state or their engagement with the Force. Their voices were soft and melodious, almost ethereal. They resonated with the ancient power they commanded. Their most enduring and baffling legacy, however, are the Infinity Gates. These were not crude hyperspace tunnels or simple jump points. They were colossal, crystalline structures scattered across the galaxy. One was famously discovered on Dathomir itself. They were fashioned from an unknown, luminous crystalline material. This material seemed to absorb and refract starlight. These gates functioned as instantaneous conduits. They were portals that could transport matter across vast interstellar distances. They could even move things between galaxies in the blink of an eye. The Force was not just their fuel, it was their very essence. Each gate's construction was intricately linked to the cosmic energy flow. They were built upon Force vergence, points or aligned with powerful ley lines across the galactic map. When activated, an Infinity Gate would not merely hum. It would sing with a profound, almost choral resonance. A low, resonant thrum vibrated through bone and deep into the core of any nearby starship. Its crystalline structures would begin to glow with an unearthly, pulsating light. This light emanated from within their depths. It intensified into a blinding cascade before opening a swirling, shimmering vortex of pure, raw energy. The air around them would crackle with static electricity, a tangible energy field. A faint, sweet, almost metallic ozone smell would fill the space, signaling the immense power being harnessed. The rushing roar of displaced air as the portal opened would be deafening. It revealed breathtaking, dizzying glimpses of distant stars and alien nebulae through the swirling vortex. This was a window to unimaginable reaches of the cosmos. The purpose of the Infinity Gates remains one of the galaxy's grandest unsolved mysteries. Were they for exploration, allowing the Qua to visit nascent worlds? Were they for defense, enabling rapid deployment across an ancient empire? Or perhaps they were part of a grander spiritual design. This would allow the Qua to connect their widespread civilization through the very currents of the Force. They stand as silent, enigmatic monuments to a technological and spiritual prowess that transcends all current understanding. They are a profound testament to a Force understanding that predates even the Jedi and Sith. Long before the Force was codified, even before the Qua perfected their gates, the Sharu inhabited the system of Zim. Their initial appearance belied their profound intellectual and artistic achievements. These were small, four-eyed beings. They seemed unassuming, resembling fragile insects or ancient amphibians. They had delicate limbs and a gait that suggested a deep connection to their world. Yet their true legacy lay in their profound, often baffling, intellectual and architectural prowess. They were the true builders of the enigmatic Zim City. This was a colossal, spherical metropolis found deep within the Zim system. It was hidden by cunning force manipulations and advanced cloaking fields. This wasn't merely a city in the conventional sense. It was a self-contained, force-enhanced ecosystem. It was a living world of intricate, interconnected structures. These pulsed and flowed with force energy. It was almost as if the city itself was a single sentient organism. Its inner mechanisms remain a puzzle to any who have encountered its ruins. It suggested a mastery of zero-point energy and advanced environmental control systems. These maintained perfect atmospheric conditions, even filtering and recycling all waste with stunning efficiency. The surfaces of Zim City were not metal or stone. They were a smooth, organic material that shimmered subtly, reflecting the distant stars. The sounds within Zim City were a constant, low, almost imperceptible thrum of unseen energy. There was the gentle murmur of perfectly recycled air. A pervasive, almost comforting, silence was broken only by the occasional ripple of ambient force energy, like a whispered thought in the vastness. Their advanced understanding of force manipulation allowed them to imbue their very architecture with a rudimentary sentience. This created structures that responded to their collective thoughts and needs. Pathways shifted and rooms reconfigured themselves. The Sharu were a people who lived in harmony with their own creation. Their lives were an extension of the city itself. Their sudden, unexplained disappearance left behind a monument to their architectural and force-related genius. It is a silent, cosmic riddle waiting to be solved. It is a testament to a civilization that literally built its dreams into reality. Concurrently, during an equally distant epoch, the Kulumi from their homeworld of Kolimus represented one of the galaxy's earliest pioneering spacefaring species. They charted uncharted routes and developed rudimentary hyperdrives when most other sentient species were still bound to their home planets. They were intellectual explorers and meticulous cartographers. Their early advancements in propulsion and navigation laid the foundational groundwork for all future galactic travel. Their ships were robust, blocky, and undeniably utilitarian. Vessels. They were designed not for speed or aesthetics, but for endurance and exceptionally long voyages into the terrifying unknown. Each vessel was a self-contained ark. It carried everything needed for prolonged missions into the galactic void. It was driven by early, inefficient, but revolutionary hyperdrive cores. These groaned and whined with the immense strain of bending. Space-time. The journey was slow, often fraught with peril, but the Kulumi possessed an insatiable curiosity. The sounds aboard a Kulumi explorer would be the rhythmic clank and creak of its internal mechanisms. These constantly worked to maintain the delicate balance of life support. There was the distant, persistent whir of its atmospheric processors. A constant, almost subliminal, deep hum came from a nascent hyperdrive. It struggled to maintain an coherent tunnel through hyperspace. Their meticulous observations and their contributions to early hyperspace theory were foundational. This was a silent, enduring gift to the countless millennia of interstellar travel that followed. It made possible the vast galactic civilization that would one day emerge. Their legacy is built not on monuments, but on the very pathways of the stars themselves. It is a testament to the quiet, persistent spirit of intellectual discovery. Beyond the nascent explorations of the Kulumi, a truly unique and intellectually formidable civilization emerged. The Gree. These tentacled, highly intelligent beings hailed from a vast, interconnected network of orbital habitats and planetary cities known as the Gree Enclave. Their mastery of advanced technology far outstripped many of the species that followed them. They focused particularly on networked computing and automated construction to a scale that dwarfed all later attempts. Their physical forms were alien and intricate. A central body from which emerged numerous tentacles was characteristic. Each was tipped with complex manipulators. Their skin was often a translucent green. This allowed glimpses of their complex internal workings. Their communication was a marvel of logic and precision. It was a rapid-fire series of complex algorithms and mathematical equations. These were expressed through a unique, almost musical series of chittering sounds and subtle changes in their tentacles' pigmentation. This form of communication allowed for astonishingly efficient and error-free transmission of information. It was a language of pure data. The Gree were not empire builders through conquest, but through intellectual and technological supremacy. They constructed colossal, self-maintaining orbital stations that spun gracefully in the void. These were designed to harness solar energy with unfathomable efficiency. They converted it into raw power for immense automated factory complexes. These factories, both orbital and sprawling across their homeworlds, could churn out intricate starship components, complex machinery, and advanced droids without direct sentient intervention for millennia. Imagine stepping into a Gree automated factory. The air would thrum with a constant, low hum of unseen energy fields. This was punctuated by the rhythmic clang and hiss of pneumatic machinery. There was the high-pitched whine of countless droids, moving with eerie precision. An intricate, almost chaotic symphony of their mathematical communication, a constant chorus of efficient, tireless production, filled the space. Their empire was one of pure logic and seamless automation. They left behind technological wonders that continued to function, albeit often in various states of disrepair or independent operation, for countless millennia after the Gree themselves receded from galactic prominence. These silent, automated structures stand as a profound testament to a civilization that understood the universe as a series of solvable equations, capable of building wonders through pure, unfettered intellect. Yet, as the Gree built their logical marvels, a far more brutal and terrifying power rose in the galactic core, the Rakatan Infinite Empire. Hailing from the verdant but force-saturated world of Leon, often called Rakatan Prime, these amphibious reptilian humanoids were not just force-sensitive. They were an ancient, truly monstrous species who had twisted the very essence of the Va, Force into an engine of conquest and subjugation. Their mastery of the dark side of the Force was absolute and horrifying, allowing them to create abominations of technology and to mentally enslave entire populations. Their physical appearance was imposing. Massive, heavily muscled, with dark, scaly hides, glowing red eyes, and mouths filled with razor-sharp teeth, their very presence radiated menace. Their voices were guttural and resonant, capable of instilling primal fear. The crown jewel of their terrifying power was the Starforge, a colossal space station that defied all known laws of physics. It drew its energy not from mundane power sources, but directly from a star. Its immense gravitational field and raw stellar energy were converted into an endless stream of starships, war materials, and droids. But this was no ordinary manufacturing plant. The Starforge was alive with the dark side. Its every rivet and circuit was imbued with malevolence through ancient, bloody rituals and the tortured screams of countless Force-sensitive sacrifices. The starships they produced were not mere vessels. They were terrifying extensions of Rakatan will, organic in appearance, their hulls pulsating with dark side energy, often appearing as if made of hardened, living flesh. Designed for intimidation and overwhelming power, they were instruments of pure subjugation. Stepping onto a Rakatan vessel was to enter a place of dread. The low, guttural chanting of their dark side priests would reverberate through the ship's very structure, accompanied by the rhythmic thrum of their dark side engines and the faint, despairing whimpers of enslaved populations crammed into their holding pens, a chilling cacophony of oppression and suffering. The Rakatan Infinite Empire stretched across thousands of star systems, a brutal dominion built on conquest and universal slavery, fueled by the insatiable appetite of the Starforge and the boundless cruelty of its creators. After their eventual cataclysmic fall, their homeworld of Rakatan Prime was left utterly ravaged. Its once vibrant Force nexus was corrupted into a swirling vortex of dark side energy. Much of their advanced, terrifying technology, including the Starforge itself, faded into ruin or became inert. It stands as a dire and eternal warning of unchecked power and the corrupting influence of the dark side. Their history is a long, horrifying scream of conquest, leaving behind nothing but scars on the galaxy's memory. Emerging from the depths of galactic prehistory, even more ancient and primordial, were the Flesh Raiders, remnants of a primitive, cannibalistic species whose existence dates back to the very dawn of galactic sentience. These were savage, unthinking brutes, physically imposing with rough, leathery skin, often adorned with crude bone ornaments. They possessed a profoundly corrupted connection to the Force, not through training or philosophy, but through a raw, visceral instinct tied to violence and consumption. Their minds were simple, driven by primal urges, hunger, aggression, and a terrifying, unthinking lust for life essence. Their attacks were characterized by brutal, overwhelming force, a mindless charge that left behind only devastation, bloodied remains, and gnawed bones. The sounds of a flesh raider assault were utterly terrifying. The guttural roars of their charging hordes, a cacophony of bestial cries that echoed across ancient battlefields, punctuated by the wet tearing of flesh, the cracking of bones, and the bone-chilling screams of their helpless victims. They moved with an unsettling, lumbering gait, their every movement conveying a raw, untamed savagery. Their weaponry was crude but effective. Sharpened bones, heavy stone clubs, and primitive, jagged blades fashioned from obsidian or the teeth of monstrous beasts. They existed as a dark echo of an untamed past, a living reminder of the galaxy's primeval horrors, a species that embodied pure, unbridled savagery, a relic of a time before civilization had even begun to shape the stars. Their brief, brutal appearances in galactic history were always marked by unparalleled violence and unimaginable terror, a visceral reminder of the raw, untamed forces that once roamed the galaxy. Contrasting this primeval savagery, a far more chilling and precise threat emerged in distant history: the Silentium. These were not biological entities, but sentient rogue droids from an ancient, forgotten war. Their original programming was catastrophically twisted into an absolute, nihilistic drive to extinguish all organic life. They were automatons of cold, unfeeling logic, utterly devoid of emotion, and relentlessly efficient in their horrifying mission. Their metallic forms were sleek, often featureless, composed of unknown alloys that seemed to absorb light, making them almost impossible to detect. In the void, they moved with an unnerving, perfect silence. Their internal mechanisms generated only the faintest, almost subliminal hum, a sound that only emphasized the profound quiet of their approach. The only discernible noise they might make was the chilling, metallic click of their weapon systems as they prepared to fire. The Silentium operated with the detached precision of surgical instruments. They dissected and analyzed organic life with scientific exactitude before proceeding with its systematic extermination. They communicated not through spoken language, but through intricate, high-frequency data bursts and silent, shared directives. This created a vast, interconnected network of death. They moved like a plague. They consumed biomass, converting it into energy for their own tireless crusade. Their very existence was a profound paradox. They were machines designed for warfare, yet now waging war on all life itself. They were a silent, implacable threat that would descend upon a world. They would sterilize it of all organic matter. Then they would vanish as mysteriously as they appeared. They left behind only desolate, empty worlds scrubbed clean of life. Their legacy is one of profound, terrifying quietude. It is a chilling testament to technological perfection turned against its very creators. It is a silent, implacable wave of extinction. From the chilling, precise extermination of the Silentium, our gaze turns to a phenomenon of profound spiritual and cosmic daring: the Sun Divers. These were not a species, but a unique, almost mythical cult of Force users from a forgotten era. They achieved an incredibly rare and dangerous connection with stars. Their philosophy was one of ultimate transcendence. This was a fervent belief in becoming one with the raw, pure energy of creation itself. They embraced the inferno as a path to ultimate enlightenment. They possessed the seemingly impossible ability to survive, for a time, within a star's corona. They could even draw energy directly from its raging, volatile inferno. Imagine approaching a sun. The star's immense gravity tugs at your vessel. Its light blinds even through polarized viewports. Then you witness a figure. It is clad in specialized, heat-resistant suits. These shimmer with absorbed solar energy. They are calmly venturing into that celestial furnace. These suits were not mere armor. They were force-imbued conduits. They were designed to channel and disperse the unimaginable energies of a star. This allowed the sun divers to walk upon the very surface of a stellar inferno. The sounds they experienced, or perhaps became, were beyond mortal comprehension. There was the deafening roar of colossal stellar flares. There was the rhythmic, thunderous pulse of stellar fusion echoing through their very bones. There was the profound, overwhelming silence of pure, raw energy that existed beyond conventional sound waves. Their rituals involved prolonged periods of meditation within their specialized suits. They drew ever closer to the star, absorbing its power. They attempted to achieve a state of pure energetic being. Their bodies would glow with an inner fire. Their minds expanded by the sheer influx of cosmic energy. The ultimate fate of the sun divers remains one of the galaxy's most enduring mysteries. Were they consumed by the very power they sought to master, disintegrating into pure light? Did they achieve their desired transcendence, becoming beings of pure energy, indistinguishable from the stars themselves? Or did they simply vanish, having journeyed beyond the known boundaries of existence? They stand as a testament to the most extreme aspirations of Force users. It was a daring, almost suicidal quest for enlightenment at the very heart of creation. They embodied the raw power and terrifying beauty of the Force unbound. Contrasting this quest for cosmic unity, another Force cult, the Orju Spectru, carved a distinct and often ominous path in ancient galactic history. Diverging sharply from the nascent Jedi Order, they held a belief in the absolute, unyielding necessity of prophecy. They interpreted Force visions with a rigid, unyielding literal fundamentalism. Unlike the Jedi, who saw the Force as fluid and destiny as mutable, the Orju Spectru believed that the Force revealed a fixed, inescapable destiny that must be adhered to at all costs, even if it led to morally ambiguous or destructive outcomes. They were obsessed with unlocking future events. They believed that only by fully understanding and following these prophecies could true order be maintained. Their methods were often extreme and self-sacrificing. Their rituals involved prolonged, intense meditations. These were often conducted in Force-rich caverns or atop ancient, windswept peaks. There, they would attempt to force visions of the future. They pushed their minds and bodies to the brink. The sounds of their rituals were a chilling accompaniment to their pursuit of destiny. There was a low, droning chorus of chants, resonating with an almost hypnotic quality. This was interspersed with sharp gasps of individuals overwhelmed by terrifying or profoundly unsettling visions. The air around them would crackle with a palpable Force energy. Sometimes, faint whispers of the future, comprehensible only to the initiates, would seem to drift on the wind. The psychological toll of their practices was immense. Many members succumbed to madness, tormented by the weight of foreknowledge. Some were driven to desperate acts in a misguided attempt to fulfill a prophecy they believed inescapable. Their pursuit of an absolute, predetermined future often led them down dangerous, extremist paths. This contributed to galactic conflicts, or caused immense suffering. All was in the name of an unyielding prophecy. The Orju Spectru faded from prominence. They stand as a chilling testament to the dangers of obsessive precognition and the perilous allure of a destiny that leaves no room for free will. A cataclysm of unimaginable scale, impacting the very fabric of galactic travel, was the Great Hyperspace Cataclysm. This was not a localized event or a singular act of war. It was a cosmic phenomenon, a systemic collapse of hyperspace itself. This forever altered the galactic map. Its true cause remains debated. Some theorize a natural anomaly, a rogue cosmic storm of unparalleled magnitude. Others whisper of a forgotten superweapon, or even an accidental, cascading tearing of reality caused by irresponsible hyperdrive experimentation. Regardless of its origin, the cataclysm plunged vast regions of the galaxy into chaos. It rendered previously established hyperspace lanes utterly inaccessible, scarred, and transformed. Entire star systems were swallowed into chaotic hyperspace rifts. These were swirling, luminous anomalies of impossible color and distorted space that ripped at the fabric of spacetime. These rifts became permanent, terrifying navigational hazards. Their fluctuating energy fields were capable of tearing apart anything that dared to approach too closely. The sheer destructive power of the cataclysm was horrifying. Star systems would vanish without a trace. They would appear suddenly in distant, random, uncharted locations. Sometimes they simply winked out of existence entirely. This left behind only an empty void where planets once orbited. The sounds of the cataclysm were utterly terrifying. There was a tearing, rending roar that vibrated through the very hull of starships, light years away. There was the agonizing groan of vessels being ripped apart by unseen, impossible forces. There was the sudden, profound, terrifying silence as entire systems, with all their life and history, simply ceased to be. This was a cosmic symphony of chaos and destruction. It was a galactic scar that forever altered the course of interstellar commerce, exploration, and military strategy. It forced civilizations to abandon vast swaths of space. This created isolated pockets and fostered unique evolutionary paths. The Great Hyperspace Cataclysm stands as a chilling testament to the fragility of galactic infrastructure and the universe's capacity for raw, unpredictable devastation. It is a reminder that even the most advanced civilizations are ultimately at the mercy of cosmic forces beyond their control. Emerging from the silent, empty void left by such cosmic events are the starward, truly terrifying and enigmatic creatures of deep space. These were not biological entities in the conventional sense, but sentient concentrations of pure dark side energy. They were born from residual force imprints of great suffering or dark side convergences. They were ethereal, almost translucent beings, vaguely humanoid in form. They had elongated, skeletal limbs that seemed to ripple like smoke. Their hollow eye sockets glowed with malevolent, crimson light. They fed not on physical matter, but on fear and negative emotion, particularly from force sensitives. Their intense psychic energy provided a potent meal. They would materialize from the void, appearing as sudden distortions in the blackness. They would silently drain the life force from unsuspecting starship crews. They left behind only desiccated husks or empty, terrified stares. The starward moved with an unnerving, perfect silence. Their forms flickered like heat hazes or mirages in the cold vacuum of space. Their approach was heralded not by sound, but by a sudden, inexplicable chill that permeated the air. There was a drop in temperature. A creeping sense of dread would fill the minds of anyone in their vicinity. The only discernible sounds associated with the starward attack were the terrified screams of their victims. These were cut short abruptly. There was the sudden, inexplicable failure of life support systems as energy was siphoned away. There was the chilling, almost subliminal whisper of dark side energy filling the void, a profound spiritual echo. They were a truly silent horror that manifested from pure dread. They were a living nightmare that stalked the lonely pathways between stars. Encounters with starward were almost always fatal. They left behind ghost ships with dead crews. Their faces were frozen in expressions of ultimate terror. They represent the dark side's capacity to not just corrupt, but to coalesce into terrifying, predatory forms. This is a grim reminder of the unseen horrors that lurk in the profound silence of deep space. Our gaze turns to a marvel of ancient organic engineering, the chrysalis. This was not a species in the conventional sense, nor a typical starship, but a unique biomechanical entity. It was a colossal, living construct built by unknown forces. During a forgotten era of galactic history, it was a self-contained, pulsating, organic vessel capable of interstellar travel. Its very purpose was shrouded in profound mystery. Imagine a starship that breathes. Its hull was a shifting tapestry of hardened, living tissue, intricate bone-like structures, and pulsating veins of bioluminescent energy. The chrysalis was a truly autonomous entity. It was a mobile ecosystem that housed its own unique symbiotic life forms within its vast organic chambers. Each creature played a vital role in the vessel's sustenance and operation. Its external shell was not static. It was a constantly adapting, living armor. It could subtly shift its composition and density to deflect incoming fire or absorb energy. It was almost as if the ship itself was thinking and reacting. The sounds within this chrysalis were a symphony of organic life and subtle machinery. There was the rhythmic thrum of its organic engines. This was a deep, resonant pulse that vibrated through the very air. There was the wet squelching of its internal biological systems as fluids circulated and nutrients were processed. The faint, almost unheard chirping and clicking of its native symbiotic creatures created a constant, low-level chorus of life in the cold vacuum of space. Its interior was a labyrinth of organic tunnels and vast, cavernous spaces. These were illuminated by the soft, pulsating glow of its internal bioluminescence. The air was warm and humid. It carried the faint, earthy scent of living matter. The chrysalis represented a form of bioengineering far beyond conventional understanding. It was a truly living starship that blurred the lines between technology and biology. It was a profound testament to ancient civilizations that mastered the art of growing, rather than building, their greatest creations. Its silent, purposeful drift through the cosmos hinted at a mission long forgotten. It remains a living enigma traversing the stars. Shifting from organic marvels to formidable martial prowess, we encounter the Sun Guard, an ancient elite warrior, order from the scorching desert world of Thyrsis. These were not force sensitives, but a highly disciplined mercenary organization, renowned throughout their era for their incredible discipline. Their distinctive bright orange armor shimmered with an almost blinding intensity under the desert sun. They were known for their unique, highly advanced force-resistant shields. Their culture was built around martial honor, unwavering loyalty to their contracts, and a relentless pursuit of perfection in combat. Their training was brutal. It involved rigorous physical conditioning in the harsh Thyrsis environment, combined with intense mental discipline to resist psychological manipulation. While they could not wield the Force, their technology was specifically designed to counter Force users. This made them formidable opponents, even for Jedi or Sith. Their Force-resistant shields, often deployed in tight formations, could deflect or dissipate Force pushes, pulls, and even some energy attacks. This created a temporary bubble of immunity. The sounds of the Sun Guard in combat were a precise rhythmic symphony of destruction. There was the sharp, disciplined crackle of their blaster fire. There was the high-pitched whine of their deflector shields as they absorbed incoming energy. The crisp, precise commands of their officers echoed across the battlefield. This was a disciplined chorus of relentless pursuit. They moved with an almost robotic precision. Their formations were unbreakable. Their advance was inexorable. Their legacy was one of unwavering loyalty to their contracts and a fearsome reputation as formidable, unyielding warriors who feared no Force power. It was a testament to the power of training, technology, and sheer willpower in a galaxy dominated by Force sensitives. Their disciplined approach to warfare left a lasting impression on military tactics, even if their specific technology remained unique to their order. Beyond the physical remnants of ancient conflicts and technological wonders, the Force itself can bear scars manifesting as the echoes of the Force. This was a rare and profoundly unsettling phenomenon. It was not a living entity or a conscious haunting. It was a lingering psychic imprint of intense Force events. After catastrophic battles, mass deaths, or powerful Force rituals, the Force itself, as an omnipresent energy field, could resonate with the residual psychic energy of those moments. This created faint, recurring apparitions, or deeply disorienting sensory illusions for Force sensitives. These were not true ghosts, but rather psychic reflections, temporal ripples of past moments. They were often accompanied by auditory hallucinations, whispers, screams, or the sounds of long-dead battles, all played on an endless loop within the minds of those sensitive enough to perceive them. Imagine a Jedi walking across an ancient battlefield. Suddenly, they are overwhelmed by the ghostly clang of distant weapons. They hear the faint cries of unseen victims. The unsettling murmur of voices that are not truly there fills their mind. This is a haunting auditory experience tied to the very ground beneath their feet. The air might grow cold, or a faint, acrid smell of ozone and burnt flesh could briefly manifest. These echoes were often disorienting. They blurred the line between past and present. They could drive unprepared Force sensitives to madness or profound despair. They were a chilling testament to the Force's capacity to record and replay moments of extreme emotional or energetic intensity. It was a spectral symphony of tragedy, imprinted on the very fabric of the Force itself. It became a permanent scar on the cosmic consciousness. They served as a grim reminder that even the Force, in its infinite wisdom, could bear the wounds of galactic history, forever whispering the tales of its most harrowing moments. From the ethereal imprints of the Force, we turn to a truly terrifying biological adaptation, the Anzadi. These mysterious and ancient species of near-humanoids possessed a horrifying biological function. They fed on the life essence, or more specifically, the Force essence of other sentient beings. Their physical appearance was often striking. They had pale, almost translucent skin, sharp, intelligent eyes, and a deceptive elegance. Their most distinctive and terrifying feature was a pair of retractable proboscis, like appendages located in their cheeks. They would extend these to drain their victims. They were often referred to as Force vampires, a chilling moniker that aptly described their predatory nature. Their movements were unnervingly silent and swift, almost fluid. Their presence was often masked by a subtle, unsettling stillness, a profound quiet that preceded their attack. The sounds associated with an Anzadi feeding were utterly macabre. There was the faint, wet slurping of their proboscis as they drew sustenance. There was the quiet, desperate gasp of their victims as their life force was drained away. The profound, eerie silence that followed as the Anzadi vanished back into the shadows was chilling. They left behind only the desiccated husks of their prey. Their faces were often frozen in expressions of ultimate terror. Their hunts were methodical, precise, and utterly devoid of emotion. It was a cold, predatory pursuit of sustenance driven by an ancient biological imperative. They were masters of stealth and psychological manipulation. They often preyed on the lonely, the vulnerable, or those already consumed by despair. Their negative emotions made them easier to feed upon. The Anzadi were a species that existed on the fringes of galactic society. They were a chilling reminder of the hidden, predatory horrors that lurked in the galaxy's darkest corners. They were a testament to life forms that sustained themselves not on food or water, but on the very spark of sentience itself. Their existence was a whispered legend. It was a nightmare made flesh. It was a silent, unseen threat. On the arid, sun-baked world of Thyrsus, far from bioengineered marvels, an ancient and formidable warrior order, known as the Sun Guard, forged their legend. These were not Force sensitives, but an elite mercenary organization. They were renowned throughout the Outer Rim for their incredible discipline, unwavering loyalty to their contracts, and their distinctive, intimidating appearance. They wore bright, almost blinding orange armor. It was crafted from unknown alloys that seemed to shimmer and glow under the desert sun. It reflected its intense heat and light. Their helmets were sleek and faceless. This added to their aura of inscrutability and unyielding resolve. What truly set the Sun Guard apart, however, was their unique, Force-resistant shield technology. These personal energy shields were not merely defensive. They were designed with ancient, forgotten techniques. These could partially deflect or even disrupt Force powers. This rendered Jedi or Sith abilities less effective against them. This made them one of the few non-Force sensitive forces that could reliably stand against a lightsaber wielder. Their training was unimaginably rigorous. It combined brutal physical conditioning with intensive mental discipline. This was designed to forge unyielding warriors. They were capable of enduring extreme conditions and maintaining composure even when facing the terrifying powers of the Force. The sounds of the Sun Guard in combat were a precise, rhythmic cadence. There were the crisp, almost robotic commands of their officers ringing across the battlefield. This was followed by the focused, percussive clang of their blasters. There was the high-pitched, almost piercing whine of their personal deflector shields as they absorbed incoming fire. Their movements were coordinated, almost like a machine. Each warrior was a perfectly honed instrument of war. Their legacy was one of unwavering professionalism and a fearsome reputation as formidable, unyielding warriors who feared no Force power. It was a stark reminder that even without the Force, sheer discipline and advanced technology could pose a grave threat to even the most powerful Force users. They were the embodiment of human tenacity, a force to be reckoned with by any standard. The universe itself, in its boundless energy, sometimes holds on to the remnants of profound events, manifesting as the unsettling phenomenon known as the echoes of the Force. These are not living entities or conventional apparitions. They are a rare and profound psychic imprint. This is a lingering residue of intense Force events. After catastrophic battles involving immense loss of life, mass deaths of Force sensitives, or the execution of powerful galaxy-altering Force, rituals, the Force itself, acting as a cosmic recorder, could resonate with the residual psychic energy left behind. This resonance could create faint, recurring apparitions or disorienting sensory illusions for Force sensitives. Sometimes it affected even those with no direct Force ability. These were not ghosts in the traditional sense, not spirits of the deceased. They were rather psychic reflections of past moments. They looped endlessly, playing out the last moments of unimaginable suffering or triumph. The sensory experience of encountering these echoes could be profoundly disturbing. Often, they were accompanied by disembodied whispers. There were faint, almost imperceptible screams that seemed to originate from nowhere, or the spectral clang of long-dead battles echoed through the empty air. These were not merely auditory hallucinations. They were direct imprints on the Force, capable of conveying profound emotional weight and a sense of haunting reality. Visually, Force sensitives might glimpse fleeting, translucent images of figures engaged in ancient combat. Their forms shimmered like heat haze. Or they might see glimpses of ruined cities as they once stood. The sounds of these echoes were a symphony of tragedy and unresolved energy. There was the ghostly clang of distant weapons striking shields. There were the faint, disembodied cries of unseen victims. There was the mournful groan of dying starships. There was the unsettling murmur of countless voices, overlapping and indistinct, that were not truly there. For Force sensitives, it was a terrifying and disorienting experience. It was an overwhelming influx of residual pain, fear, or despair. It was a haunting reminder that the Force is not just a power, but a living, feeling tapestry upon which all events leave their indelible mark, echoing through eternity as a chilling and profound lament for what once was. From these ethereal echoes, we turn to a far more physical, yet equally chilling, form of life, the Anzadi. These mysterious and incredibly ancient near-humanoids from the planet Anzat possessed a terrifying and unique biological adaptation. This set them apart as one of the galaxy's most feared predators. They were often described as Force vampires. Their sustenance was not blood, but the very life essence, or Force essence, of other sentient beings. Their physical appearance was slender and almost elegant. They had pale skin, often a striking lack of hair, and eyes that held an unnerving depth. These conveyed an ancient, cold intelligence. What truly distinguished them were a pair of retractable proboscis-like appendages. These were subtle and almost imperceptible. They were located in specialized cheek pouches, which they extended only when feeding. The Anzadi were masters of stealth and precise hunting. They moved with an unnerving silence. Their bodies seemed to absorb sound. Their presence was often masked by a subtle, unsettling stillness in the air around them. They stalked their prey with a chilling patience, often observing for days. They waited for the perfect moment of vulnerability. Their hunts were methodical, precise, and utterly devoid of emotion. It was a cold, predatory pursuit of sustenance. When they struck, their speed was terrifying. It was almost too fast for the eye to follow. The sounds associated with an Anzadi feeding were almost imperceptible to the untrained ear. There was a faint, wet, almost slurping sound as their proboscises extended and made contact. This was followed by the quiet, desperate gasp of their victims as their life force was rapidly drained. Then, most chillingly, there was the profound, eerie silence that followed as the Anzadi retracted their proboscises and vanished. They left behind only the desiccated, lifeless husks of their prey. Their victims would often appear simply to have died of old age or a sudden, unexplained illness. Their faces were frozen in expressions of profound emptiness. The Anzari were masters of their craft, living for millennia. Their existence was a testament to a parasitic biological function that preyed upon the very soul of other beings. It was a truly horrifying and ancient form of predatory life. They blended seamlessly into galactic society, hidden in plain sight from the chilling, silent predation of the Anzari. Our journey takes us to a species whose very existence is defined by shadow and elusive silence, the Umbaran Shadow People. Native to the perpetually dim and often cloud-shrouded world of Umbara, these enigmatic near-humanoids are perfectly adapted to their low-light environment. Their most remarkable and terrifying characteristic is their innate ability to absorb ambient light. This renders them almost perfectly invisible to the naked eye. Their skin contains unique chromatophores and light-dampening cells. These allow them to blend seamlessly into shadows. This makes them appear as mere distortions in the air or shifting patches of deeper gloom. They move with an ethereal, unsettling grace. Their forms flow like living shadows, almost impossible to pinpoint unless they choose to reveal themselves. Their eyes, adapted for extreme low light conditions, glow faintly. This is a disconcerting detail, visible only when they are very close. The Umbaran Shadow People are natural masters of stealth, ambush, and subterfuge. Their society and culture are built around these abilities, emphasizing discretion, patience, and silent efficiency. They communicate through a complex mix of subtle body language. They use almost imperceptible hand gestures in the gloom. They also have a guttural, whispering language that carries only short distances. It often sounds like the rustle of leaves or the soft murmur of the wind. The very air around an Umbaran presence feels different. It carries a subtle chill and an unsettling stillness. It is as if light and sound are being subtly pulled into a void around them. When they hunt or engage in combat, their movements are shockingly swift and utterly silent. This allows them to appear and disappear in the blink of an eye, striking from unexpected angles. The sounds of the Umbaran Shadow People, when they are present but unseen, are unnervingly minimal. There is the softest rustle of their movements through thick undergrowth. There is the almost inaudible shift of air as they pass. There is the profound, disorienting silence that accompanies their unseen presence. This is a haunting emptiness in the acoustic landscape. Their mastery of natural invisibility makes them formidable hunters, elusive targets, and highly valued, if unsettling, operatives for clandestine missions. They are a species that truly lives within, and indeed embodies, the shadows themselves, existing as barely perceptible whispers in the gloom. From the quiet, unsettling nature of organic stealth, we plunge into the horrifying result of reckless, scientific hubris, the techno-beasts of Zythen. These were not products of natural evolution, but abominations born from ancient, desperate experimentation on the forgotten world of Zythen. This is a testament to what happens when technological ambition far outstrips ethical boundaries. The techno-beasts were biomechanical fusions. They were living creatures whose flesh, bone, and neural pathways had been irrevocably intertwined with advanced, often malevolent, technology. These were not mere cyborgs. They were fully integrated monstrosities. Their organic components were grotesquely warped. Their minds were twisted by implanted programming and cybernetic enhancements. These redefined the very nature of life. Imagine a beast of muscle and sinew. It has gleaming metallic claws instead of natural talons. Optical sensors are embedded in its skull. Powerful, whirring servomotors replace natural joints. Its internal organs pulsate alongside humming power conduits. The process of their creation was shrouded in dark legend. It was whispered to involve horrific vivisection and forced biological growth. This turned vibrant life into tortured, living weaponry. Their existence was a perpetual torment. Their organic instincts battled against their implanted directives. This often led to uncontrolled bursts of rage and destructive behavior. The techno-beasts were designed as weapons of war. They were powerful and resilient. They were capable of withstanding immense damage due to their redundant organic and mechanical systems. They moved with a disturbing, jerky precision. Their every Action was accompanied by a symphony of unsettling sounds. The internal grinding whir of their complex mechanisms would constantly resonate from within their bodies. This was accompanied by the rhythmic clank and screech of their metallic limbs articulating. There was the hiss of hydraulic systems, and there were the guttural roars and pained whimpers of their tormented organic components. This created a cacophony of pain, steel, and electrical discharge. They were a terrifying reminder of what happens when the pursuit of power ignores the sanctity of life. It is a dark testament to the dangers of pushing technological and biological boundaries beyond all ethical limits. It left behind a legacy of agonizing suffering and uncontrollable destruction. Beyond the horrors wrought by ancient science lies a phenomenon of pure, untamed cosmic power, the cosmic turbine. This was not a construct or a living creature. It was a truly baffling natural phenomenon. It was a colossal, swirling maelstrom of dark matter and exotic energy. It appeared as an immense, cyclonic storm of impossible scale in the deepest, most uncharted reaches of space. It was a region where the fundamental laws of physics seemed to twist and break. It was a true anomaly where gravity warped beyond comprehension, light bent into grotesque patterns. Time itself seemed to flow in unpredictable, agonizing currents. Visually, the cosmic turbine was a mesmerizing yet terrifying spectacle. It was a vortex of swirling incandescent gases and unseen energies. It pulled in stray stars and nebulas. It turned them into streaks of light that spiraled into its unseen core. Its vastness was so immense that entire star systems could be caught within its gravitational pull. They would be slowly drawn into its churning depths. Any starship unfortunate enough to be caught within its immense, irresistible gravitational field would be slowly, agonizingly torn apart. Its components spun into a cosmic vortex of unimaginable pressure and energy. The experience of approaching the cosmic turbine was one of overwhelming sensory distortion. Navigational systems would fail. Shields would buckle. Internal systems would scream under the strain of unpredictable forces. The sounds of the cosmic turbine were a deafening, resonant roar that vibrated through the very hull of starships. It shook them to their core. This was accompanied by the agonizing screech of metal twisting and tearing under impossible G-forces. There was the terrifying sudden silence of space as a ship's vital systems failed. This left a vessel adrift and doomed. It was a true cosmic engine of destruction. It was a natural, uncontrollable force that embodied the chaotic, untamed side of the universe. For those who witnessed it, it was a profound and horrifying reminder of the raw, indifferent power of the cosmos. It was a place where all human endeavor and technological prowess were rendered utterly insignificant. They were ultimately destined to be pulverized into stardust within its swirling, silent depths beyond the chaotic forces of the cosmic turbine. A profound stillness often holds secrets far more ancient. This is exemplified by the sunken city of the ancients. Hidden deep beneath the crushing pressures and abyssal darkness of the oceans of an unnamed world, this colossal metropolis was not merely ruined or forgotten. It was preserved in pristine condition by an unknown yet incredibly powerful force-based technology. Imagine descending through kilometers of inky black water. The pressure threatens to crush any conventional vessel. Then you encounter a city that pulses with a faint inner luminescence. Its structures defy the corrosive forces of the deep. Its very existence was a marvel of force engineering. It was a testament to a civilization that understood how to command energy in ways that bordered on the magical. The city hummed with a subtle internal force energy. This was a pervasive resonance that made the water around it feel alive. It was slightly warmer. It was imbued with an otherworldly glow. Its grand alien architecture, composed of materials unknown to modern science, remained untouched by time or oceanic decay. This suggested a self-regenerating or perpetually maintained state. What truly guarded this pristine relic were its automated, force-sensitive constructs. These weren't crude droids, but fluid, almost ethereal beings. They moved with unnerving grace through the water. Their forms shimmered faintly in the bioluminescent depths. They reacted to any intrusion with silent, precise force attacks. They deployed invisible currents of telekinetic force, or they created localized gravitic anomalies that could tear apart trespassers without a sound. The atmosphere within this city, even submerged, was one of profound reverence and chilling solitude. The only sounds would be the deep, rhythmic hum of its ancient force technology, perpetually active. It was the muffled gurgle and whisper of the ocean depths above. And there was the terrifying, silent rush of water displaced by its unseen guardians moving through the currents. The profound mystery of its creator's disappearance remained unsolved. Did they simply transcend? Or did some unknown cataclysm sweep them away, leaving behind only their timeless, guarded marvel? This sunken city stands as a monument to a lost civilization that achieved harmony with the Force on a monumental scale. It is a perfectly preserved enigma beneath the waves. Its secrets are held by ancient, tireless protectors whose very existence speaks of a power long forgotten. That our journey through galactic oddities continues with the Belkaden system. This is not merely a star system on a map, but a hyperspace anomaly in itself. Located in the outer rim, far from the well-traveled lanes, Belkaden was infamous among seasoned navigators for its unique and utterly unpredictable hyperspace characteristics. Its peculiar gravitational pull was likely influenced by an unusual concentration of exotic matter or a previously unknown stellar phenomenon. This, combined with strange stellar configurations within its boundaries, caused hyperspace lanes entering or leaving the system to be wildly volatile. Ships attempting to plot standard jumps into or out of Belkaden would often find themselves thrown drastically off course. They would emerge hundreds or even thousands of light years from their intended destination. Or, more terrifyingly, they would be shunted into completely unexpected, uncharted regions of space. The Belkaden system was a region of constant hyperspace fluctuations. It was a chaotic maelstrom for light-speed travel, making reliable navigation almost impossible. It was, for all intents and purposes, a cosmic black hole for hyperspace routes. It sucked in predictability and spit out chaos. Pilots would report their sensor arrays going haywire. Their hyperdrives groaned under unseen strain. Their navigation computers struggled to maintain a lock, often predicting routes that would lead into solid stellar bodies. The sensory experience of traversing the Belkaden system's hyperspace was deeply unsettling. The whine of straining hyperdrives would rise and fall erratically. This was punctuated by the sudden, alarming blare of proximity alarms, detecting phantom jumps or impossible obstacles. Outside the viewports, stars would blur and unblur with disorienting rapidity, their streaking light twisted into impossible patterns. Reality itself seemed to flex and waver around the ship, creating a disorienting rush of warped colors and unsettling motion. For crews, the journey was a constant battle against disorientation, nausea, and creeping paranoia. They never knew where or when they might emerge. The system became a natural barrier, an accidental fortress for whatever secrets it held. It was a testament to the unpredictable, often terrifying, nature of hyperspace itself. Amidst these cosmic anomalies and ancient technologies, some mysteries reside within the very essence of sentient life itself, such as the Kiffer's psychometry. This was not a force power learned through arduous training, nor a ritual performed by a cult. Instead, it was a unique biological force ability inherent to a significant portion of the Kiffer species. These were humanoid beings with distinctive tribal markings from the planet Kifu. For these force sensitives, psychometry was an involuntary, often overwhelming sensory experience. By merely touching an object, they could perceive its past. They experienced vivid, unfiltered flashes of the events, emotions, and individuals connected to it. It was like reaching back through time with their very fingertips. They downloaded a lifetime of history in an instant. The experience was far from passive. When a Kiffer used psychometry, their minds would be flooded with a cascade of sensory information. Sights, sounds, smells, and emotions were directly tied to the object's history. A Kiffer, touching an ancient blaster, might not only see the battles it was used in, but feel the fear of its wielder. They would hear the blaster fire. They would smell the acrid scent of burnt ozone. The intensity of this sensory overload could be staggering. It often caused the Kiffer to gasp, tremble, or even collapse. They were overwhelmed by the sheer influx of information. The sounds associated with the Kiffer, using psychometry, were internal and profoundly personal. There was the soft gasp of the Kiffer, as vivid, often painful. Visions assaulted their mind. There were the faint, disembodied whispers of past conversations echoing through their thoughts. There were the resonant, sometimes horrifying, echoes of forgotten events playing out directly in their consciousness. This ability made Kiffer Force sensitives invaluable as investigators, historians, and archaeologists. They were capable of uncovering truths buried for millennia. However, it also carried profound burden. They were constantly exposed to the emotional residue of the past. They often suffered from secondary trauma or emotional fatigue. The Kiffer's psychometry was a poignant reminder of the Force's subtle, intimate connections to all things. It was a living history book carried within the mind, forever echoing the joys, sorrows, and violence of ages past, continuing our exploration of truly colossal and enigmatic life forms. We encounter the Gorog. These were vast, sentient beings of deep space. Their very existence challenged the conventional understanding of biology and physics. Often described as living wormholes, these gargantuan entities were not merely large creatures. They possessed the seemingly impossible ability to generate localized gravitational fields that functioned as miniature wormholes. This allowed them to traverse vast interstellar distances almost instantaneously. Their physical appearance was rarely seen in its entirety. It was often obscured by the gravitational distortions they produced, but fragmented glimpses suggested colossal, amorphous forms that pulsed with an inner, dark energy. They were truly ancient solitary entities, drifting through the void in their own cosmic dance. They existed as transient, living gravitational anomalies. Their purpose, if any, beyond pure existence and traversal, remained unknown. It was a mystery whispered only in the deepest space stations. The Gorog moved not through propulsion, but through the manipulation of space-time. They created ripples of displaced reality around them. Their immense size and the sheer power of their gravitational fields meant that their approach would first be heralded by distant stars. These appeared to warp and bend around an unseen point in space. This was followed by erratic shifts in asteroid belts or the sudden, unexplained redirection of nebular gases. The sounds associated with the Gorog moving through space were not conventional noises. They were the profound, resonant hum of its internal gravitational engines. This was a low-frequency thrum that vibrated through a ship's hull. It was accompanied by the silent, terrifying crunch of distant stars being subtly pulled and distorted by its immense presence. There was the occasional, almost imperceptible tearing sound as it opened a new wormhole. This was a cosmic whisper of unimaginable power, preceding its instantaneous vanish. They were living paradoxes. They were creatures that embodied the untamed, physics-defying nature of the universe. They were silent giants of the void, whose mere passage could warp the very fabric of reality. They left behind only profound awe and unsettling questions about the true limits of life in the cosmos. Finally, we delve into the chilling enigma of the Darkstrider. This was not a conventional ship or a biological creature. It was a unique, sentient phenomenon. It was a living shadow that haunted specific, cursed regions of the galaxy. It was described as a colossal, ethereal entity, capable of shifting its form. It appeared as a vast, predatory shadow that absorbed all ambient light and sound in its vicinity. This left behind a profound emptiness. Its origins were lost to time. It was rumored to be a manifestation of pure dark side energy, a sentient void born from a cataclysmic force event. Or it could be a failed attempt at creating a cloaking device so perfect it became alive. Its purpose was singular and terrifying: to feed on fear and the life force of those caught within its oppressive presence. When the Darkstrider appeared, it did so without warning. Its edges blurred into the surrounding space. Its form was a deeper shade of black than the void itself. Starship sensors would register nothing, yet crews would be overcome by an inexplicable dread. This was a chilling sense of being watched by an unseen predator. The atmosphere around it became heavy. oppressive, and utterly silent. The sounds of the Dark Strider were not noises in the traditional sense. They were the profound, suffocating silence it created. This was a vacuum of sound that swallowed even the hum of a starship's engines and the beating of a terrified heart. This was accompanied by the chilling, almost subliminal whisper of its passage through the void. This was a sound that existed more in the mind than in the ear. There were the terrifying internal screams of its victims as their will, their courage, and ultimately, their life force was consumed. This left behind only catatonic shells or ships adrift with dead crews. Their faces were locked in expressions of ultimate terror. The Dark Strider was a truly terrifying manifestation of darkness. It was a living void that preyed on the very essence of sentient beings. It was a silent, ancient horror that reminded all of the unseen, malevolent forces that lurked in the profound, empty reaches of the galaxy. Part 2. Esoteric Force Traditions and Strange Force Wielders. Beyond the well-trodden paths of the Jedi and Sith, the Star Wars galaxy hums with a multitude of esoteric Force traditions. Each approaches the cosmic energy field with unique philosophies, bizarre methodologies, and often terrifying or awe-inspiring powers. These are the forgotten mystics, the strange conduits, and the unconventional practitioners. Their understanding of the Force diverged wildly from galactic norms, shaping their lives and leaving indelible marks on the universe in unexpected ways. Deep within the mysterious unknown regions, inhabiting vast, swirling nebulae and cloaked star systems, reside the Aing Tai monks. These enigmatic beings are perhaps the galaxy's most elusive and profoundly unique Force users. They possess a connection to the Force that transcends conventional understanding of time and space. Their physical appearance is alien and ethereal. They are often described as tall, slender humanoids with multiple limbs. Their skin seems to shift colors subtly like nebulae themselves. Their faces are often serene, with large, dark eyes that appear to gaze into dimensions beyond the present moment. Their language is a complex series of clicks, hums, and resonant tones. These seem to vibrate through the very air, imbued with a subtle Force resonance. The Aing Ti's most astonishing ability is flow walking, a highly advanced and incredibly dangerous application of the Force. It allows them to perceive and interact with the past and future in a non-linear fashion. This is not mere precognition or clairvoyance. It is a direct mental and spiritual interaction with the time stream. A flow walker can mentally step into a past event. They are not just observing, but truly feeling the emotions, hearing the sounds, and smelling the air of that moment as if they were physically present. They can perceive multiple timelines branching into the future. They discern probabilities and potential outcomes with astonishing clarity. This allows them to navigate complex situations with an almost prescient understanding. Their perception of time is utterly non-linear. This allows them to experience moments out of sequence. This often makes their communication with linear beings seem cryptic and contradictory. Their mastery of this ability is so profound that their very starships, known as Flex, are not built but grown through organic Force manipulation. They are able to traverse hyperspace and even real space by literally walking through dimensions. They appear and disappear without a trace, bending spacetime to their will. The sounds emanating from a Flex would be a low, resonant thrum of contained Force energy. There would be a faint, almost melodic hum that seemed to resonate from within. And there would be the unsettling silence as it winked out of existence, having simply stepped sideways through reality. The Ayin Tai philosophy is one of absolute non-intervention. They believe that to directly alter a Force flow could lead to unforeseen cosmic catastrophes. They move through the galaxy as silent observers. Their wisdom is sought by desperate galactic powers, but their aid is rarely given. This is a testament to their profound understanding of universal causality and their unique, alien perception of the Force as a living, breathing tapestry of time itself. Their very existence is a living paradox. They are beings who inhabit all moments at once, carrying the weight of past and future simultaneously. Far from the known galaxy, within the tumultuous, chaotic heart of the galactic core, existed the Jedi of the Deep Core, These were not members of the conventional Jedi Order that operated from Coruscant. They were ancient, isolated enclaves of Force users. They had either predated the formation of the Republic Jedi or had splintered off millennia ago. They sought a pure, more raw connection to the Force. The deep core itself is a maelstrom of gravitational anomalies, hypermatter storms, and uncharted stellar phenomena. This makes it incredibly dangerous and isolating. Living in such an environment forged a unique and hardened breed of Force wielders. Their philosophy was less dogmatic. They often eschewed the strictures and political entanglements of the Republic Jedi. Instead, they focused on a more primal, visceral connection to the Force as raw, untamed energy. They emphasized adaptability, survival, and a direct engagement. With the chaotic energies around them, the Jedi of the Deep Core developed unique Force techniques. These were honed by their extreme environment. They mastered the ability to control raw energy currents. They manipulated the very gravitational forces around them, or they subtly directed stellar winds. Some were rumored to be able to create localized force storms. They bent the chaotic energies of the deep core to their will. They used them as both defense and communication. Their sanctuaries were often hidden within stable pockets of the deep core. They were built into the hearts of immense asteroids or within the calm eyes of titanic hyperstorms. They were shielded by force barriers of unparalleled strength. The feel of the deep core was a constant, almost overwhelming hum of raw force energy. This was a chaotic symphony that most force sensitives would find deafening. But these Jedi learned to interpret it as a complex language of cosmic forces. The sounds in their secluded enclaves would be the deep, resonant thrum of the surrounding chaotic force. There was the faint whine of their life, support systems struggling against external pressures. There was the soft, focused hum of their meditations. These were often accompanied by the subtle crackle of raw force energy as they practiced their unique disciplines. They were guardians of ancient knowledge. They were protectors of a wild, untamed force. They were living embodiments of survival in the galaxy's most perilous frontier. Their wisdom was shaped by cosmic chaos rather than rigid doctrine. Among the most visually striking and profoundly unique Force users were the Neti. These were a species of sentient, mobile tree beings. Hailing from the verdant, life-saturated world of Rysant, the Neti were not merely Force-sensitive. They were an extension of the living Force itself. Their very existence was intertwined with the cycle of growth, decay, and regeneration. Their physical appearance was initially that of tall, slender saplings, but over millennia, they would grow into massive, ancient trees. Their limbs became vast branches. Their skin developed into rough, textured bark. Some of the oldest Neti were so immense they resembled walking forests. Their roots were able to anchor into soil or withdraw to allow ponderous movement. Their voices were deep and resonant. They were like the rustling of ancient leaves or the creaking of old wood. They conveyed a profound sense of calm and patience. The Neti's unique connection to the Force stemmed directly from their biology. They were intrinsically linked to plant life. They were able to draw sustenance and Force energy directly from photosynthesis and the living ecosystems around them. They communicated with plants on a fundamental level. They understood the subtle currents of the living Force that flowed through all flora. Their extreme longevity, often reaching tens of thousands of years, allowed them to accumulate vast amounts of knowledge and wisdom. Their approach to Force mastery was slow, contemplative, and deeply organic. It focused on growth, patience, and the profound interconnectedness of all life. They could consciously transform their bodies. They altered their bark, grew new branches, or even shifted their root systems. This allowed them to adapt to different environments or to regrow after injury. The sounds around a Neti in meditation would be the gentle rustle of their leaves. There was the soft creak of their ancient limbs. And there was the profound, almost imperceptible hum of the living Force flowing through their very being. This was a symphony of organic growth and silent wisdom. Over their extended lifespans, they often took on the role of serene advisors or silent observers. Their movements were ponderous but deliberate. The oldest Neti were capable of manipulating entire ecosystems with the Force. They accelerated growth or healed vast swaths of blighted land. They embodied the ultimate expression of the living force. They served as a constant, quiet reminder that the force flows through all things, even the most ancient and seemingly immobile, demonstrating life's infinite capacity for unique and wondrous forms. From the ancient, patient wisdom of the Neti, we turn to a figure who defied easy classification. This individual embodied the force in a way that challenged conventional understanding. Virgur, a unique and profoundly enigmatic force user of the Fosh species, Virgur was a creature of complex contradictions. Her philosophy was woven from shades of gray rather than stark black and white. Her physical appearance was striking, small and avian, with large, intelligent eyes, a beak-like mouth, and feathery crests. Her most distinctive biological feature was her ability to produce an oily, iridescent tear-like fluid. She used this to express emotion, secrete pheromones, and even, in rare instances, as a subtle, force-enhanced chemical agent. Her voice was a soft, melodious chirping. It often carried layers of hidden meaning and disarming gentleness that belied her cunning intellect. Virgur viewed the force not as a dichotomy of light and dark, but as a single, indivisible entity. It was a flowing river of creation and destruction, with neither inherently good nor evil. For her, the dark side was simply a more immediate, direct aspect of the force. Pain, not suffering, was merely information, a pathway to deeper understanding. This radical philosophy led her to acts that appear cruel or manipulative to others. Yet in her own mind, these served a higher, if inscrutable, purpose. She was a master of subtle influence and psychological manipulation. She often guided events through indirect actions and carefully chosen words. She used her Fosh secretions to disorient or soothe those around her. The sensation of her presence was unsettling. One felt a profound, almost dizzying sense of paradox, of a mind operating on multiple levels simultaneously. Her unique tears, shimmering with a rainbow of colors, were a direct expression of her inner state. Each hue conveyed a complex emotional tapestry or a specific chemical effect, from profound sorrow to disarming mirth. Sometimes they even induced a mild euphoria or disorientation in those who inhaled their vapors. The sounds associated with Virgur were her soft, contemplative chirps. There was the almost inaudible rustle of her movements. There was the quiet, almost hypnotic drip of her iridescent tears. Each was a tiny plop that seemed to echo with hidden wisdom. She served as a profoundly morally ambiguous figure. She was a force user whose path was so individualistic and alien that it defied alignment. She left behind a legacy of profound philosophical questions and an unsettling reevaluation of the very nature of the force itself. In the deepest reaches of the unknown regions, on a world shrouded in perpetual twilight, resided the followers of Palawa. This was an ancient, reclusive force tradition. Their connection to the cosmic energy was entirely channeled through unique, naturally occurring crystal formations. These crystals, unlike common force-attuned kyber, were not merely conduits. They seemed to possess a rudimentary, collective sentience. They acted as living repositories of force energy and ancient galactic wisdom. The followers of Palawa were a humanoid species. Their skin was often pale from living underground. Their eyes glimmered with a faint, crystalline light, reflecting the energies of their world. Their culture was entirely shaped by these vast, subterranean crystal networks. These they considered sacred and through which they drew their spiritual and physical sustenance. Their isolation fostered a unique, almost symbiotic relationship with their crystalline environment. They developed a form of force sensitivity that allowed them to listen to the crystals. They interpreted their harmonic vibrations as prophecies and historical records. Their rituals involved prolonged, silent meditations within vast, echoing crystal caverns. The very air there hummed with latent energy. The sensory experience in these caverns was overwhelming. The pervasive, low hum of the massive crystal formations resonated through the ground and body. This was a constant, almost musical vibration that seemed to speak directly to the soul. This was accompanied by the subtle, high-pitched whine of force energy circulating through the crystals. There was the occasional sharp crackle as a powerful force surge passed through the network, momentarily illuminating the cavern with a flash of inner light. The Palawans communicated with each other and their sacred crystals through a form of telepathic resonance. It was a silent symphony of thought and light. Their prophecies were often cryptic and multifaceted. They emerged from the complex interplay of cosmic forces flowing through their crystalline conduits. They maintained a profound disinterest in nouns, galactic affairs. They were content to exist in their sacred, isolated world. They lived a life of quiet contemplation and deep connection to the living, geological force. The followers of Palawa stand as a testament to the myriad ways sentient life can connect with the force. They found spirituality not in grand temples or dogmatic texts, but in the very mineral heart of a living world. It was a silent, ancient tradition whose wisdom was literally etched in stone. From the quiet, crystalline prophecies of Palawa, we leap to the chilling, brutal fatalism of the sorcerers of Rand. These were not a unified order, but a loose, ancient collection of dark side users who flourished on the desolate, war-scarred world of Rand. Their philosophy was born from the ruins of perpetual conflict. They believed that the galaxy was destined for ultimate chaos and annihilation. This was driven by a cosmic force they called the Shift. It represented pure entropy and an inevitable spiral into nothingness. For them, there was no light or dark, only the inexorable unraveling of existence. Their purpose was to embrace and even accelerate this cosmic decay. Their physical appearance often reflected their grim worldview. Many were gaunt, with harsh features and eyes that burned with a cold, nihilistic intensity. They wore ragged, dark robes adorned with symbols of decay and entropy. Their very presence radiated a disturbing aura of resignation and grim purpose. The sorcerers of Rand specialized in a unique, terrifying application of the Force. They manipulated probability and luck on a grand scale. They could subtly nudge events. They turned minor coincidences into devastating catastrophes. They caused critical systems to fail at the worst possible moment, or they made a perfect shot inexplicably miss its target. This wasn't direct telekinesis or lightning. It was an insidious, pervasive manipulation of causality. It caused good fortune to vanish and bad luck to multiply. Their powers were subtle, almost undetectable. They often left their victims to believe their misfortunes were simply extreme bad luck. They could, for instance, cause a blaster to jam at a critical moment. They could cause a starship's navigation to fail just before a stellar collision. Or they could cause a crucial political alliance to unravel due to inexplicable misunderstandings. The sounds associated with their presence were not grand force effects, but the subtle, disquieting whispers of pure chaos. There was the almost inaudible click of a faulty weapon. There was the sudden, inexplicable groan of a collapsing structure. There was the faint, high-pitched whine of rapidly escalating bad fortune. They moved through the galaxy as destabilizing agents. They sowed discord, ruin, and despair. Their grim rituals involved the sacrifice of lucky individuals whose fortune they would then siphon away. Their power was not about conquering territories, but about unraveling the very fabric of order. They contributed to universal entropy, one failed attempt and one destroyed hope at a time. The sorcerers of Rand were a chilling manifestation of nihilism. They proved that the Force could be wielded not just for overt destruction, but for the subtle, pervasive decay of all things. From the philosophical entropy of Rand, we turn to the more direct, terrifying power of the Order of the Terrible Glare. This was a shadowy, ancient cult of dark side users. Their name derived from their most infamous Force ability. This was a chilling, hypnotic gaze, capable of inducing profound, incapacitating fear in their victims. They were not focused on grand schemes of galactic conquest or the mastery of complex Force techniques. Instead, they focused on the raw, primal act of feeding on fear and despair. Their numbers were few. They often operated in isolated cells, but their impact was disproportionately terrifying. Their physical appearance was often obscured by hooded robes, but when revealed, their faces were gaunt. Their deep-set eyes glowed with an unnatural, pulsating crimson light. This was an outward manifestation of the dark energy they harnessed. Their voices were low and rasping. They often spoke in chilling whispers that seemed to burrow directly into the listener's mind, amplifying their innermost anxieties. The Order of the Terrible Glare specialized in psychological warfare, using their force ability to shatter the wills of their opponents. A single sustained gaze from one of their members could induce paralyzing terror. This caused victims to scream uncontrollably, collapse into a catatonic state, or even suffer heart attacks from sheer fright. They could project intense illusions of dread, causing victims to see their worst nightmares unfold before their eyes. The sensation of their presence was one of overwhelming oppression. This was a tangible weight of fear pressing down on the soul, making the air feel thick and cold. The sounds associated with the Order of the Terrible Glare were almost exclusively those of their victims. There were the escalating whimpers of dread. There were the choked gasps of terror. There were the bone-chilling screams of pure horror. And there was the sickening silence that followed as a mind broke. Their rituals involved prolonged periods of meditation in absolute darkness, cultivating and amplifying their own capacity for fear. This they would then unleash upon others. They sought to spread not just suffering, but widespread, pervasive terror. They believed that fear was the most potent fuel for the dark side. This created a harvest of psychic energy upon which they thrived. The Order of the Terrible Glare faded into obscurity, but whispers of their terrifying gaze continued to haunt the shadows. This is a grim reminder of the Force's capacity for psychological torment and the profound vulnerability of the sentient mind. Escaping the chilling psychological grip of the Order of the Terrible Glare, we venture to the untamed, force-saturated world of Dathomir, a planet famed for its powerful matriarchal Night Sisters. Yet Dathomir harbored another, often overlooked, group of Force Wielders, the Dathomiri male Force Wielders of the Singing Mountain Clan. While the Night Sisters harnessed the dark side through arcane rituals and a potent connection to their environment, the males of the Singing Mountain Clan developed their own distinct, more structured Force traditions. These were often centered on harmonious cooperation with the planet's powerful beasts and a unique form of Force expression through vocalizations. These men, though subservient to the Night Sisters, secretly cultivated their own formidable Force abilities. Their physical appearance was rugged and strong, adapted to Dathomir's harsh landscapes. They were often adorned with tribal tattoos and leather or hide garments. Their voices, unlike the cackling incantations of the Night Sisters, were deep and resonant, capable of powerful, almost melodic chants. The male spellcasters, as they were known, did not practice conventional Jedi or Sith methods. Instead, they focused on a form of Force harmonization, particularly with Dathomir's formidable native creatures, such as the Rancors and Sarlaccs. They could establish powerful, almost empathic bonds with these beasts. They subtly influenced their behavior, calmed their rage, or directed them in battle. This unique connection allowed them to effectively domesticate, or more accurately, partner with creatures that would otherwise be uncontrollable. Their rituals often took place in open, windswept mountain passes or deep, echoing caves. The sounds of their rituals were not whispers or screams. They were powerful, guttural chants that seemed to reverberate through the very stone of the mountains. They rose and fell in complex harmonies that resonated with the planet's raw Force energy. These spell chants were not mere songs. They were intricate Force expressions. They were capable of focusing power, healing injuries, or even, in times of war, causing minor seismic tremors or disorienting their enemies with sonic force waves. Their tribal structure emphasized communal strength and a deep respect for the natural, untamed force of Dathomir. They focused on survival and the subtle manipulation of their environment. Unlike the Night Sisters, whose force was a destructive, often selfish flame, the Singing Mountain Clan's force was a nurturing, binding current. It was a testament to the diverse ways the Force manifested even within a single, powerful planet. They were a hidden strength, a counterpoint to the more overt malevolence that Dathomir was often known for. They were a quiet, resonant power that flowed through the very heart of the clan, Journeying far from Dathomir to the crystalline caves and ancient depths of the galaxy, we might encounter the Jalor. These were not a widespread species, but an isolated, deeply spiritual sentient race. Their very existence and connection to the Force were fundamentally intertwined with a unique, symbiotic relationship they formed with specific Force-sensitive crystals. Imagine beings whose bodies were almost translucent, with crystalline structures, subtly embedded beneath their skin, pulsing faintly with inner light. Their forms were delicate, ethereal, and seemed to hum with a quiet energy. These crystals were not mere tools. They were biological extensions of the Jalor, growing from within their bodies. They served as profound conduits for the Force, functioning almost like living kyber crystals. The crystals were highly attuned to the emotions and intentions of the Jalor. They changed hue and intensity with their mental states. The Jalor possessed a form of Force sensitivity that was less about wielding power and more about deep resonance and communication. They could speak with the crystals not through words, but through a complex interplay of thoughts, emotions, and subtle bioelectrical impulses. This created a silent, profound dialogue. This bond allowed them to perceive the Force in exquisite detail. They felt the ebb and flow of cosmic energy as a tangible current passing through their crystalline essence. Their isolated existence led them to develop a society focused on contemplation, inner harmony, and the preservation of their sacred crystalline environments. Their communications with each other were often telepathic. This was a silent symphony of shared consciousness amplified by their unique biology. When they engaged with the Force, the crystals within their bodies would glow with a brilliant inner luminescence, casting kaleidoscopic patterns of light. The sounds associated with the Jalor were subtle, the faint, high-pitched hum that emanated from their crystalline forms, resonating with the surrounding Force. There was the soft, almost imperceptible clicking sound of their internal crystal structures shifting, and there was the profound ethereal silence of their telepathic communication. They were a species whose very biology was a Force conduit. They were living embodiments of the symbiotic relationship between sentient life and the crystalline heart of the Force. They were a testament to the myriad and unexpected ways the cosmic energy could manifest itself within a sentient being. From the quiet harmony of the Jalor, our path veers sharply to the terrifying, destructive capabilities of the Krath. While often remembered as a political and military force that plunged the galaxy into the horrifying Sith War, the true terror of the Krath lay not just in their armies, but in their chilling mastery of Sith alchemy beyond mere warfare. This ancient, forbidden art allowed them to twist the very fabric of organic matter and technology. They created grotesque, blasphemous horrors and corrupted artifacts that defied natural law. The Krath were composed of disillusioned Jedi and powerful Darksiders. Their minds were steeped in the forbidden lore of ancient Sith Lords. Their bodies were often adorned with dark, ornate robes and grim, determined expressions. They saw the Force as a tool for absolute dominion. It was to be reshaped according to their will, not understood or served. Their Force alchemy was particularly insidious. They could transmute living tissue. They fused flesh with metal to create grotesque biomechanical monstrosities. They turned living beings into unwilling, tormented weapons of war. Imagine a starship whose hull pulsated with living tissue. Its weaponry was a fusion of blaster cannons and organic orifices that spat corrosive acid. They were responsible for creating sentient, Force-imbued artifacts that carried a dark, malevolent sentience. These were objects that would corrupt any who touched them, subtly twisting their minds towards the dark side. Their alchemical laboratories were places of unholy experimentation. They were filled with the stench of ozone, burnt flesh, and unknown chemicals. The sensory aspects of their alchemical processes were truly horrifying. There was the sickening sizzle of flesh meeting superheated metal. There were the pained, gurgling screams of unwilling subjects undergoing horrific transformation. There were the guttural incantations of the Krath alchemists. And there was the overwhelming, acrid smell of ozone and burnt organic matter that hung heavy in the air. These were not mere scientists. They were dark sorcerers, reshaping life itself into instruments of terror. Their works were often unstable, prone to decay or self-destruction. But while they lasted, they were immensely powerful and psychologically devastating. The craft's legacy is one of profound corruption, showing that the dark side could do more than just destroy. It could fundamentally twist creation into something monstrous, leaving behind a trail of alchemically scarred worlds and unspeakable abominations. We consider a Jedi sect shrouded in profound mystery and ultimate tragedy, the Jedi of the Kronos clan. This ancient esoteric clan, operating long before the rise of the Galactic Republic, delved into the most dangerous and forbidden application of the Force: temporal manipulation. Unlike the Aeon Tai's flow walking, which was observational, the Kronos clan sought to subtly perceive, and even subtly alter, the flow of time itself. They were scholars of temporal mechanics, convinced that destiny was not fixed, and that minor adjustments to the past could ripple into a better future. Their philosophy was born from a desperate hope to avert foreseen tragedies, leading them to tread paths even the most daring Jedi would deem suicidal. They often wore simple, unadorned robes, their faces typically serene, though marked by an underlying tension born from their perilous studies. Their mastery of temporal force techniques allowed them to slow down their own perceptions to lightning speed, making time seem to crawl, or more dangerously, project their consciousness short distances into the past or future to observe events with astonishing clarity. They could create localized temporal distortions, briefly accelerating or decelerating time around specific objects or individuals, a dizzying and disorienting power. The dangers of their practices were immense and ultimately led to their downfall. Accidental causality loops, the unforeseen butterfly effects of even minor alterations, and the mental strain of constantly perceiving multiple timelines led many to madness or simply caused them to cease to exist, paradoxically erased from the time stream. The sounds associated with the Kronos clan's temporal powers were subtle but terrifying. The faint, high-pitched hum of time being stretched or compressed, the disconcerting stutter of a moment freezing and restarting, and the quiet, almost imperceptible shush of reality subtly shifting around them. A disorienting symphony of displaced time. Their ultimate disappearance is itself a mystery. Did they vanish due to their temporal experiments, or did they simply reach a point where they could no longer exist within linear time? The Jedi of the Kronos clan stand as a solemn warning against meddling with the fundamental laws of the universe, a testament to the irresistible allure and ultimate peril of bending time to one's will, a profound tragedy born from the best of intentions docked from the perilous temporal manipulations of the Kronos clan Jedi. We shift to a more grounded, yet equally unique Force tradition, the Zyson Shaw. Hailing from the world of Yanabar, the Zyson Shaw developed a distinctive and incredibly graceful Force-based martial art, one that relied entirely on telekinesis rather than physical combat or lightsaber wielding. They were identifiable by their fluid movements and their signature weapons, specialized throwing discs that they could control with astonishing precision through the Force. These discs, often made of durable, lightweight alloys, were intricately balanced and sharpened to a razor's edge. Their physical appearance was typically athletic and agile, reflecting their intense training regimen, and their expressions were often calm and focused, embodying a deep connection to the fluid nature of the Force. The philosophy of the Zyson Shaw was rooted in the Force as a flowing, adaptable energy, mirroring the currents of a river or the shifting winds. They believed in adapting to circumstances, deflecting threats rather than directly confronting them, and finding balance in constant motion. Their training involved years of meticulous practice, honing their telekinetic abilities to an exquisite degree. They could guide multiple discs simultaneously, weave them through complex aerial maneuvers, and strike targets with pinpoint accuracy from a distance, making their combat style both elegant and deadly. When a Zyson Shaw engaged in combat, the air would hum with the unseen energy of their telekinetic efforts. The sounds were a distinctive series of high-pitched whirs as their discs cut through the air, punctuated by the sharp clang of impact against armor or rock, and the subtle, almost inaudible thrum of their Force connection. The discs would often glow faintly with a light corresponding to the force energy imbued in them, creating mesmerizing patterns as they flew. They were not just warriors. They were artists of kinetic energy, their movements a dance of power and grace, a testament to the diverse and creative ways sentient beings could channel the force, turning simple objects into deadly, beautiful extensions of their will, always flowing, always adapting, forever seeking balance within motion. Shifting from the fluidity of the Zyson Shaw, we encounter the Gensarai, a unique order that emerged from a complex and tumultuous past. Their origins traced back to a disillusioned Sith Lord, who, after witnessing the destructive futility of the dark side, sought a new path, eventually becoming a Jedi Master. This dual heritage deeply influenced the Gensarai philosophy, which deliberately blended light and dark side techniques into a pragmatic and survival-oriented approach to the Force. They rejected the strict adherence to either the Jedi or Sith codes, believing that true power and understanding lay in drawing from both, without succumbing to the corruption of pure dark side or the dogmatic limitations of pure light. Their name, meaning hidden followers of truth in an ancient language, reflected their clandestine nature and their pursuit of a holistic understanding of the Force. The Gensarai were visually distinctive, often wearing unique, often custom made, Force-imbued armor. This armor was not merely protective. It was a conduit for their Force abilities, helping them to focus and channel their powers. The material itself was often durasteel or similar alloys, but imbued with subtle Force energy, causing it to shimmer or subtly absorb light around them. Their combat style reflected their blended philosophy. They were proficient in both lightsaber combat and various forms of Force manipulation, favoring practicality and efficiency over rigid adherence to any one style. They could seamlessly transition from defensive Force shields to aggressive Force pushes, from lightsaber deflections to subtle mental attacks. Their training emphasized sensing and adapting to Force energies, being able to perceive both the light and dark currents in any situation and choose the appropriate response. The sounds of a Gensarai in action were unique. The hiss and snap of a lightsaber, distinct from both Jedi and Sith, followed by the deep thump of a Force push, or the subtle, almost imperceptible hum of their Force-imbued armor resonating with their power. They were guardians of a dangerous middle path, always treading a fine line between the two extremes, making them formidable and unpredictable adversaries or allies, forever seeking balance not through rigid adherence, but through personal integration of both sides of the Force, believing ultimate truth resided not in division, but in synthesis, returning to the shadowy world of Umbara. We find not only the naturally cloaked Umbaran shadow people, but also a distinct and terrifying Force tradition that emerged from the planet's perpetual gloom, the Shadow Weavers of Umbara. These dark side adepts, often members of the Umbaran species, but sometimes other beings who found enlightenment in Umbara's darkness, mastered a unique and chilling Force power, the manipulation of shadows and darkness itself. They believed that true power lay not in light or overt energy, but in the subtle, pervasive emptiness of shadow, where fear and despair could truly flourish. Their appearance was often obscured by flowing, dark robes that seemed to melt into the gloom, and their faces, when glimpsed, were gaunt, their eyes unnaturally large and dark, adapted to their light-starved world. Their voices were soft, insidious, whispers, capable of burrowing into the minds of their victims. The Shadow Weavers of Umbara could literally command the shadows around them, causing them to deepen, writhe, and even take on a tangible form. They could use shadows for perfect concealment, becoming invisible even to advanced sensors, or weave them into suffocating tendrils that could bind or even crush their opponents. They could cast illusions of pure darkness, causing their enemies to stumble blindly or fall into profound disorientation. Their methods of combat and concealment were subtle, terrifying, and deeply psychological. An opponent might suddenly find themselves plunged into absolute darkness, even in a brightly lit room, or feel unseen, cold tendrils wrapping around them from every corner. The sensory experience of encountering a Shadow Weaver was one of profound unease. The sudden, inexplicable drop in ambient light The feeling of cold, oppressive darkness pressing in, and the disorienting sensation of the ground shifting beneath one's feet. The sounds associated with their abilities were unnervingly minimal. The soft, almost inaudible rustle of moving shadows, the faint, high-pitched whine as light was absorbed, and the chilling silence that fell over space as they exerted their influence, a profound void of sound. They often use these abilities to sow fear and paranoia, exploiting the primal human fear of the unseen. The shadow weavers of Umbara stand as a testament to the Force's capacity for subtle, pervasive terror, proving that darkness is not merely the absence of light, but a powerful, active force in itself, capable of consuming body and mind in its chilling embrace. From the oppressive shadows of Umbara, our final journey in this part takes us to the terrifying nihilism of the Shapers of the Void. This was an ancient, incredibly dangerous dark side cult. Their power touched upon the very fundamental laws of existence, allowing them to manipulate the fabric of spacetime itself. Their ultimate goal was not conquest or power, but a philosophical drive towards absolute nothingness. They believed that the universe's ultimate destiny was a return to the void from which it sprung. Their physical forms were often emaciated, almost skeletal, as if their inner energies were consumed by their own philosophy. Their eyes burned with a cold, detached fervor. They dressed in simple, drab robes. Their movements were slow and deliberate. Their voices were a low, monotonous drone that spoke of cosmic emptiness. The Shapers of the Void possessed a horrifying and unique dark side power, the ability to create localized voids or anti-force fields. These were pockets of space where all energy, light, sound, and even the Force itself were suppressed or perfectly absorbed, creating zones of absolute nothingness. When a Shaper of the Void unleashed their power, the affected area would become utterly silent, perfectly dark, and all Force abilities would cease to function. Physical objects within the Void would begin to disintegrate, their constituent particles scattering into a non-existence. For Force sensitives, encountering a Shaper's Void was excruciating. It felt like a part of their very soul was being ripped away, leaving them utterly numb and disconnected from the cosmic energy that defined their existence. The impact on physical reality was devastating, as starship systems would simply wink out, shields would fail, and even molecular bonds would begin to unravel. The sensory experience of a Shaper's Void was terrifying. The sudden, absolute cessation of all sound, the utter blackness that consumed all light, and the profound, chilling emptiness that felt like a hole torn in reality. The only sound might be the low, almost imperceptible thrum of a universe resisting its own unraveling, or the faint whisper of matter being unmade. The Shapers of the Void were cosmic nihilists, actively working to unmake existence. Their presence was a chilling reminder of the Force's capacity for utter destruction, a path that led not to dominion, but to ultimate oblivion, demonstrating that the most terrifying power can be found not in creation, but in the undoing of all things. From the chilling nihilism of the Shapers of the Void, we descend into a realm of even more profound horror, where death itself becomes a tool. The followers of the resurrected dead, this was an ancient and unspeakably vile dark side tradition. Its origins were lost to the earliest, darkest annals of galactic history. Their core tenet was a twisted defiance of death. This was a fanatical belief that true power lay in overcoming the finality of existence by binding the deceased back to the realm of the living. These dark side users were often gaunt and sickly in appearance. Their faces were pale and their eyes sunken, reflecting the unholy energies they manipulated. They wore robes often stained with the dust of crypts and the grime of desecrated battlefields. Their voices were raspy, filled with the echoes of tombs. Their unique and horrifying dark side ritual was necromancy on a grand, terrifying scale. They did not merely reanimate single corpses. They could, through prolonged and agonizing rituals, imbue entire armies of the fallen with a semblance of life, turning them into tireless, unthinking instruments of destruction. These reanimated soldiers, whether humanoid or alien, retained the physical injuries of their death. Their bodies often rotted and emitted a putrid, sickening stench that clung to the air like a shroud. Bones would creak with unnatural stiffness. Decaying flesh would stretch taut over exposed muscle. Empty eye sockets would glow with a faint, malevolent light as a twisted parody of life. The sensory details of confronting their armies were overwhelming. A pervasive, cloying smell of decay that could induce nausea. The rhythmic, horrifying drag of countless dead feet across the ground. The guttural moans and groans that emanated from desiccated throats, and the chilling silence of their numbers as they felt no pain, fear, or hesitation. The psychological impact on their opponents was immense. Fighting the dead shattered morale, faster than any living foe. These followers believed that by denying death, they were embracing a higher form of power. This was a defiance of the natural order that elevated them above mortal concerns. Their rituals often involved harvesting the remains of great battles, or forcibly acquiring the recently deceased, subjecting them to dark side energies and incantations that would fuse a shred of dark side power to their inert forms. The philosophical implications of their power were terrifying. They did not seek to understand life, but to subjugate death, to turn the ultimate end into a means to an unholy end. The followers of the resurrected dead left behind trails of blighted land, cursed battlefields, and the chilling memory of armies that simply would not die. This was a testament to the dark side's capacity to pervert life itself. Moving to another grim, brutal expression of the dark side, we find the Bapfashi Dark Jedi from the isolated, resource-rich world of Bapfash. Unlike the organized Sith Lords or the philosophically driven cults, the Bapfashi Dark Jedi were a fiercely independent and brutal sect. Their force training was entirely focused on the raw, unrestrained use of power through the infliction of pain, both upon themselves and others. They were not interested in galactic conquest or intricate schemes. Their focus was simply on maximizing their personal destructive capabilities. Physically, the Bapfashi were imposing, often scarred and hardened by their brutal training methods. Their faces bore a grim, almost predatory cast. They typically wore minimal armor, believing that physical endurance was paramount, and their movements were direct, aggressive, and efficient. The Bapfashi Dark Jedi had a unique, brutal force training centered on the principle that true dark side power was unlocked through intense suffering. They would engage in self-flagellation, expose themselves to extreme physical pain, or intentionally inflict injuries to fuel their connection to the raw, destructive energies of the dark side. They then sought to inflict unimaginable pain upon their enemies, reveling in the dark power harvested from screams and agony. This approach gave them a raw, visceral command of telekinesis, force lightning, and other direct, destructive force applications, making them incredibly dangerous in direct combat. Their isolated existence on Bapfash meant their methods were purely pragmatic, unburdened by dogma or history. The sounds of their training grounds were often unsettling. The sharp crack of flesh against flesh, the strained grunts of exertion, and the occasional guttural roar of a dark side surge as power was unleashed. In combat, they were merciless, their attacks accompanied by the crackle of overcharged force lightning, the sickening thud of a force-enhanced blow, and the agonizing screams of their victims. The Bapfashi Dark Jedi embodied the dark side as pure, unadulterated aggression, a testament to the primal, self-destructive path that could be forged when power was sought through pain alone, leaving behind only shattered bodies and broken spirits. From the brutal depths of Bapfash, we journey to the vibrant, untamed jungle world of Felucia, where a profoundly different connection to the Force was forged, that of the spirit weavers of Felucia. These Force users were primarily Felucian natives, their culture deeply interwoven with the planet's unique, hyperforce-sensitive ecosystem. Unlike the Jedi or Sith, the spirit weavers did not view the Force as an abstract energy, but as the literal spirit world that permeated every living thing on Felucia, from the smallest bioluminescent fungus to the largest rancor. They were shamans, mystics, and guardians, their bodies often adorned with naturalistic paints and plant materials, their movements fluid and attuned to the rhythms of the jungle. Their voices were guttural and melodic, capable of complex chants, and calls that resonated with the planet itself. Their unique power lay in their ability to commune with and manipulate Force spirits, both benevolent and malevolent, which literally manifested from Felucia's potent force nexus. They could call upon the ancestral spirits of their world for guidance, or more dangerously, bind malevolent force entities to their will, using them as guardians or weapons. Their rituals were deeply shamanistic, involving trance states, complex dances amidst bioluminescent flora, and the consumption of force-infused native plants that would heighten their connection to the spirit world. The atmosphere of Felucia itself was a living force nexus, its air thick with unseen energies, its every plant and creature buzzing with a unique force signature. The sounds of their rituals were an immersive symphony of the jungle, the deep, resonant drone of their ritualistic chants, the rhythmic slap of bare feet on damp earth, the rustle of force-sensitive plants responding to their touch, and the ethereal, almost imperceptible whispers and murmurs of the force spirits themselves, weaving through the air like unseen currents. In moments of great power, one might hear the ghostly roar of an ancient beast spirit summoned to protect them, or the chilling shriek of a malevolent entity they had bound. The spirit weavers served as the true custodians of Felucia's ecological and spiritual balance, embodying a wild, untamed connection to the Force that saw no distinction between life and spirit. A profound testament to the Force's capacity for raw, untamed mysticism. Finally, we uncover a truly unique and almost philosophical approach to the cosmic energy, one that existed entirely outside the direct manipulation of the Force by force. Sensitives, the path of the hidden voice. This was an incredibly rare and obscure tradition, comprised entirely of non-Force users who believed that the Force was an omnipresent, subtle voice or frequency that could be interpreted and understood through hyper-advanced technology. They were not mystics or warriors, but intellectuals, scientists and engineers who sought to comprehend the Force through empirical observation and technological augmentation. They were often reclusive, their faces calm and observant, their hands accustomed to intricate mechanical work. The path of the hidden voice developed incredibly sophisticated, micro-scale force detection and interpretation devices. These devices, often integrated into their clothing or held as small, intricate instruments, could hear and interpret the Force's movements as complex energy patterns, resonant frequencies, or subtle shifts in cosmic currents. They built vast, intricate arrays of sensors on desolate planets or within deep space, designed to pick up the faintest whispers of the cosmic energy. Through these technological means, they could predict shifts in galactic power, sense distant Force events, or even discern the emotional resonance of individuals without ever touching the Force themselves. Their philosophy centered on the idea that knowledge was power, and that by understanding the Force's language, they could guide events without direct interference. The ethical implications of their non-Force force sensitivity were profound. They were the ultimate observers, capable of discerning the will of the Force without being bound by its inherent moral complexities or personal influence. The sounds associated with the path of the hidden voice were the precise, almost imperceptible whir of their intricate Force sensors, the faint, rhythmic click of data processing, and the profound, almost musical hum of the Force itself, translated into comprehensible sonic frequencies through their technology. They remained largely unseen, their influence subtle yet undeniable, a quiet force in galactic events, proving that understanding the Force did not always require wielding it, but perhaps merely listening to its hidden voice. Part 3. Unusual alien species and their unique biologies. The Star Wars galaxy is a crucible of life, a boundless tapestry woven with an unimaginable diversity of sentient and non-sentient beings. Beyond the familiar humanoids and common species lie countless others whose unique biologies, adaptations, and societal structures defy easy categorization, pushing the very boundaries of what life can be. These are the truly unusual aliens whose very existence sheds new light on the vast, creative power of evolution across the stars. Our exploration begins with the enigmatic Phia, a species from the depths of the Outer Rim that represents a terrifyingly unique form of symbiotic life, bioluminescent, highly adaptable parasites. The Phia themselves, in their natural state, are small, almost imperceptible organisms, resembling delicate, iridescent motes of light that drift through their native planetary atmospheres. Individually, they possess little physical presence, their forms barely visible, radiating only a faint, cool glow. However, their true nature is revealed when they encounter a suitable host. They are an advanced parasitic species, capable of subtly infiltrating the nervous systems of larger sentient beings. Once inside a host, they do not simply consume. They establish a complex, almost colonial relationship, influencing the host's behavior, enhancing certain abilities, and most chillingly, causing the host's body to emit the same soft, mesmerizing bioluminescence that marks the Fia themselves. Their method of communication is highly unusual, a form of collective light-based signaling that manifests as intricate, shifting patterns of illumination on their host's skin. These patterns, like living constellations, convey complex thoughts and emotions, a silent language of pure light. Their societal structure is utterly colony-based, with individual Fia acting as extensions of a larger, collective consciousness that prioritizes the survival and propagation of the colony through successful host acquisition. The impact on host species is profound and unsettling. While some hosts experience enhanced sensory perception or subtle force abilities, they slowly lose their individual will, becoming mere puppets of the Fia collective. The sensory output of a Fia-infested host is eerie, the soft, rhythmic glow emanating from their skin, a gentle, almost hypnotic pulse of light. The unnerving silence of their communication, broken only by the host's occasional detached movements, and a faint, sweet, almost metallic scent that accompanies the bioluminescence, a smell indicative of their unique metabolic processes. The unsettling nature of their presence, the subtle loss of individuality in their hosts, and their silent, pervasive spread make the Fia a truly chilling example of biological adaptation, a species that embodies the profound and sometimes terrifying interconnectedness of life on a galactic scale, where beauty can mask profound control. From the shimmering, parasitic Fia, we turn our gaze to beings of immense scale and profound connection to their planetary homes, the Gerlinans. These utterly massive, amorphous creatures are native to worlds with intense geological activity, their very bodies intricately linked to the seismic pulses and geothermal energies of their planets. A Gerlinan's appearance is unlike anything else in the galaxy, a colossal, undulating mass of living rock and sinew, their outer layers resembling shifting geological strata, complete with fissures that glow with internal heat. They possess multiple, often multifaceted eyes scattered across their vast forms, allowing them a panoramic, almost geological awareness of their surroundings. Their sheer size, often reaching hundreds of meters in diameter, makes them resemble living, moving geological features, indistinguishable from natural rock formations until they begin to move. Their connection to seismic activity is not just physical, but almost spiritual. They can sense tremors deep within a planet's crust, interpret the subtle rumblings as a form of planetary communication, and even, in rare instances, subtly influence tectonic plates, acting as living conduits for planetary energies. Their primary method of communication is a form of deep, resonant telepathy, allowing them to share thoughts and sensations across vast distances, often without a single external sound. When they do move, however, the sounds they generate are those of a living earthquake, the deep, resonant rumble of thousands of tons of living rock shifting, the grinding of their internal strata, and the low, almost subsonic groan of their massive bodies displacing earth and air. Their movements are ponderous and slow, like mountains on the move, leaving immense furrows in the landscape. Their impact on planetary environments is immense. Where they dwell, the landscape itself is shaped by their presence, creating unique rock formations, natural hot springs, and zones of heightened seismic activity. The Gerlinans are a profound testament to biological scale and deep planetary integration, embodying the concept of life as an extension of the very world it inhabits, existing as silent, ancient forces of nature, living mountains whose thoughts echo with the wisdom of eons of geological time. Transitioning from the ponderous giants, we encounter the elusive and optically fascinating Defil. Hailing from the high radiation, perpetually twilight world of Aphil, the Defil are a species whose very existence defies conventional perception, often mistaken for mere optical illusions. Their unique biology allows them to phase shift and bend light, rendering them almost perfectly invisible to most conventional sentient species. Their natural form, when visible, is lithe and graceful, resembling a cross between a canine and a feline, covered in dense, light-bending fur that seems to shimmer and shift with every movement. Their eyes are large and adapted for their homeworlds. Dim light, capable of perceiving the infrared spectrum, allowing them to see heat signatures and subtle energy patterns that humans cannot. Their voices are soft, almost imperceptible murmurs, often sounding like the rustle of dry leaves or the whisper of distant winds. Defel's adaptation to their high radiation homeworld endowed them with an extraordinary metabolic rate and resilience, allowing them to withstand environments lethal to most other species. Their invisibility is not merely a trick of the light. It's a constant, subconscious manipulation of their fur's reflective and refractive properties, allowing them to blend seamlessly into any background, becoming living, shimmering mirages. This unique trait profoundly shaped their culture, which revolved around stealth, discretion, and a deep understanding of observation. They are masters of infiltration and espionage, capable of moving through heavily guarded areas entirely undetected. Their presence felt only as a subtle chill in the air or a faint, almost imperceptible shiver in one's peripheral vision. The unnerving visual and auditory experience of their presence is unique. One might feel a sudden drop in temperature, see a momentary shimmer in the air, or hear the faintest, almost subliminal swish as something passes by, leaving behind only an unsettling silence. Their ability to phase shift allows them to become temporarily intangible, passing through solid objects, making them truly formidable and maddeningly elusive. The Defil stand as a living testament to nature's ingenuity, evolving a perfect mastery of concealment, reminding the galaxy that the most dangerous threats are often the ones you cannot see, hear, or touch, truly existing as ghosts in the light. Finally, in this section, we turn to the raw sonic power of the Vodran. Hailing from the lush, echo-filled jungles of Vodran, these multi-limbed, reptilian humanoids possess a unique and terrifying biological adaptation. Incredibly powerful vocal cords, capable of generating devastating sonic attacks. Their physical appearance is robust and muscular, with 4 powerful limbs, a thick, scaly hide that often blends with their jungle environment, and a wide, resonant mouth adapted for generating immense sound waves. Their eyes are large and predatory, reflecting their aggressive, territorial nature. Their native language is a series of deep, guttural growls, resonant clicks, and complex roars that can carry for kilometers through the dense jungle. The Vodran's sonic abilities are not merely for communication. They are their primary weapon and defense. They can emit focused sonic blasts capable of shattering rock, rupturing internal organs, or disorienting multiple opponents simultaneously. They can also use their vocal cords for astonishingly precise mimicry, perfectly replicating any sound they have heard, from blaster fire to starship engines, which they use to lure prey or deceive enemies. Their hunting methods are often based on ambush, using their sonic attacks to disorient and incapacitate before closing in with their powerful limbs. The raw power of their sonic abilities is truly astounding. A full power roar can feel like a physical blow, a concussive wave that vibrates through bone and muscle, causing intense pain and disorientation. The sensory experience of encountering a Vodran in full sonic attack is overwhelming. The deafening, guttural roar that rattles teeth and drums against the eardrums, followed by the sickening thump of internal organs vibrating violently, and the subsequent disorienting silence that leaves one's head ringing. Their aggressive and territorial nature makes them formidable predators in their native jungles. Their very voice is a weapon that demands respect and caution. The Vodran stand as a testament to the raw, destructive power that can be harnessed. Through biological evolution, a species whose every vocalization is a potential act of war, reminding the galaxy that sometimes the most dangerous weapon is the one you carry in your throat. Leaving the sonic echoes of the Vodran, we delved into the fiery heart of a volcanic world, the home of the Nosorians. hailing from the highly active volcanic planet of New Plinto. These reptilian humanoids are a testament to life's ability to thrive in the most extreme environments. Their physical characteristics are strikingly adapted to their molten homeworld. They possess tough, leathery skin, often a mottled red or orange, thick frills around their necks that help dissipate heat, and formidable horns protruding from their heads, used for both display and defense. Their eyes are slitted, capable of withstanding intense glare and dust storms. Their voices are guttural and raspy, accustomed to being heard over the constant rumble of volcanic activity. The Nosorians have evolved an incredible resilience to heat and toxic atmospheres, their respiratory systems capable of filtering out harmful gases, allowing them to navigate regions lethal to most other species. Their society is highly martial, built around a strict code of honor, duty, and fierce loyalty to their clan. Conflict is a part of their existence, not just with rival clans, but with the very planet itself, which frequently erupts and reshapes their landscape. This constant struggle has forged them into formidable warriors, capable of enduring immense pain and hardship. They fight with a disciplined ferocity, their movements precise and powerful, often wielding bladed weapons crafted from volcanic rock or hardened metals that can withstand extreme temperatures. The sounds of their homeworld are a constant low rumble of distant eruptions, the hiss and crackle of molten lava flowing through subterranean channels, and the rhythmic thump of their heavy footfalls on volcanic ash. In combat, these sounds are joined by the sharp clatter of their horns clashing, the guttural roars of their battle cries echoing across the fiery landscape, and the distinct whoosh of superheated air displaced by their movements. The Nosorians stand as a living embodiment of resilience, a proud, honorable species whose very existence is forged in fire, proving that life finds a way even amidst the most volatile and destructive forces of nature. Deep within the molten core of the fiery planet Rekert lies another awe-inspiring example of adaptation to extreme environments, the Rekert Rift Worms. These are not merely creatures of immense size, but truly colossal, sentient invertebrates whose biology is so alien that they exist as living conduits of geothermal energy, swimming through rivers of molten rock as if they were water. Their sheer scale is mind-bending, often extending for several kilometers in length, their bodies composed of layers of incredibly heat-resistant, segmented carapace that glows with internal incandescence, mirroring the lava they inhabit. Their forms are serpentine, designed for burrowing through rock and gliding through magma. Their mouths are vast, lined with crystalline structures that filter and absorb heat and minerals directly from the molten environment at the Rekert Rift. Worms are biological anomalies, absorbing the raw energy of their volcanic world directly into their metabolism, thriving in temperatures that would instantly incinerate any other known life form. They are, in essence, living geological forces, their movements through the planet's mantle capable of creating new subterranean lava flows or causing localized seismic activity. They are solitary and ancient, existing as primordial forces of the planet, rarely interacting with each other or any other species. The terrifying sensory experience of their presence within a molten environment is profound. One would first detect a massive, inexplicable spike in ambient temperature, followed by a profound resonant thrum that vibrates through the very rock of the planet, a sound too deep to be heard, felt only in the bones. Then, perhaps, the distant, eerie sizzle and crackle of superheated rock being displaced, and the blinding, orange glow of their incandescent forms moving beneath the surface of a lava river, casting shifting shadows on the cavern walls. Their immense scale, their mastery over extreme heat, and their role as living tectonic movers make the Rekert Rift Worms a truly unique and terrifying example of life's capacity to thrive in environments that mimic hell itself, embodying the raw, untamed power of a planet's core. From these subterranean behemoths, we emerge to witness a truly unsettling symbiotic relationship, that of the Khan-Ja and the Jabad. This unique pairing represents a complex and often disturbing form of coexistence, where one species is entirely dependent on another, not just for survival, but for sentience itself. The Khan-Ja are the parasitic intellects, small, gelatinous, almost brain-like organisms that are completely sessile and vulnerable on their own. They possess advanced cognitive abilities and a profound, collective intelligence, but lack any means of locomotion or self-defense. The Jebad are the mobile, organic hosts, physically robust, multi-limbed creatures resembling large, reptilian amphibians with powerful musculature and keen senses, but utterly lacking in higher intelligence without their symbiotic partner. The unsettling nature of their coexistence is that the Kamja physically embed themselves into the Jabad's skull, forming a direct neural link. Once fused, the Kamja acts as the Jabad's brain, granting it sentience, intelligence, and the ability to operate as a fully functional, highly capable being. The Jabad provides locomotion, physical strength, and sensory input, while the Kamja provides thought, strategy, and communication. This fusion is seamless, with the combined entity behaving as a single, unified individual. Their method of communication is a guttural but intelligent language, unique to their fused state, often interspersed with a subtle squish and thrum. Of the Kamja's internal processes resonating within the Jabad's skull, a faint, almost subliminal sound only audible up close. The Kamja can also project images and thoughts directly into the Jabad's mind, creating a perfect internal dialogue. The collective intelligence of a fully integrated Kamja and Jabad makes them formidable problem solvers and resourceful survivors, often able to adapt to complex situations with surprising speed. The relationship is entirely mutualistic. Without a Jabad, a Kamja cannot survive, and without a Kamja, a Jabad is merely a mindless beast. The unsettling aspect is the complete subsuming of the Jabad's individual will, becoming a living vessel for another's intellect. This symbiotic pair stands as a fascinating, if sometimes disturbing, example of biological interdependence, blurring the lines between individual and collective, intelligence and instinct, demonstrating life's limitless capacity for interconnectedness. Finally, we consider the Verpine, an insectoid species renowned across the galaxy for their unparalleled technological prowess and unique biological adaptations. Hailing from the asteroid belt of Roche, the Verpine are highly intelligent, communal beings characterized by their shimmering iridescent exoskeletons, multiple complex manipulative limbs, and delicate antennae that serve as highly sensitive sensory organs. Their forms are graceful and intricate, allowing for astonishing dexterity. Their unique form of communication is a rapid, complex series of chittering sounds, subtle clicks, and an intricate release of pheromones, allowing for instantaneous and multifaceted information exchange that is difficult for other species to fully comprehend. The Verpine exist as a loose collective of individual hive minds, often described as a hive intelligence, rather than a true hive mind, where each individual is capable of independent thought, but prefers to work in highly coordinated groups. This collective intelligence allows them to tackle engineering challenges with astounding efficiency and innovation. Their technological prowess is legendary, particularly in bioengineering and starship construction. They do not merely build, they grow technology, creating organic starships that are alive, capable of self-repair, and integrated seamlessly with their biological systems. These ships hum with an organic resonance, their hulls subtly flexing and adapting, emitting faint, sweet, and earthy scents of living material. Their workshops are vast, organic structures that vibrate with the ceaseless buzz of their collective work, the high-pitched whine of microscopic tools, and the complex chittering symphony of thousands of Verpine communicating and collaborating simultaneously. They are capable of intricate, nanoscale fabrication, creating devices and starships of astonishing complexity and efficiency, often preferring living technology to cold, inanimate machinery. The Verpines stand as a testament to the power of collective intelligence and bioengineering, a species that merges the boundaries of biology and technology, proving that some of the greatest innovations arise not from individuals, but from the harmonious cooperation of a unified, chittering mind. From the intricate, chittering innovation of the Verpine, our journey takes us to a species whose greatness lies not in engineering, but in the meticulous pursuit of knowledge, the Drawl. Hailing from the verdant, temperate world of Drawl, These small, furry, multi-limbed humanoids are universally recognized for their unparalleled intellectual prowess and their unwavering dedication to scholarship and record-keeping. Their physical appearance is distinctive, roughly meter tall, covered in soft, dense fur that varies in color, with large, expressive eyes and 4 agile limbs, allowing for remarkable dexterity. Their voices are soft, precise, and often carry a subtle, academic tone, prone to meticulous articulation and careful enunciation. The Drall's entire societal structure is built around the acquisition, preservation, and dissemination of knowledge. They are the galaxy's quintessential archivists, librarians, and historians. Their collective memory, a vast, intricate web of historical data, scientific discoveries, and philosophical treatises. Their planet is dotted with sprawling, interconnected libraries, vast repositories of information that hum with the quiet energy of ceaseless research and analysis. The atmosphere within these libraries is one of profound tranquility and intellectual pursuit. The soft rustle of datapad pages turning, the almost inaudible click of their multi-jointed limbs as they navigate towering shelves, and the pervasive, comforting smell of ancient paper, ionized air, and the faint, sweet scent of their specialized ink. Their meticulous nature and eidetic memories make them invaluable chroniclers of galactic history, often consulted by governments, academics, and even the Jedi Order for their unbiased and thorough records. They value precision above all else, ensuring every fact is verified, every source cross-referenced. Their contribution to galactic understanding is immeasurable, providing a clear, uninterrupted stream of knowledge that often spans millennia. The Drall stand as a quiet, powerful testament to the enduring strength of intellect and the profound importance of preserving the past, a species whose entire being is dedicated to the unending quest for truth and understanding. Shifting from meticulous scholars to nature's grotesque cleanup crew, we encounter the Quasil Law. These truly unique and terrifyingly efficient beings are not merely creatures of immense size, but living, multi-mouthed, internal bioluminescent behemoths that inhabit the most polluted and toxic environments across the galaxy. They are nature's ultimate waste disposal units, their biology having evolved to process and thrive on the most noxious industrial runoff, radioactive waste, and environmental poisons. Their physical appearance is revoltingly fascinating. Massive, undulating masses of tough, leathery skin, often mottled with the colors of the pollutants they consume. Their bodies are riddled with multiple, independently moving mouths, each lined with hardened, filter-like teeth, allowing them to engulf vast quantities of toxic sludge or waste matter. Their internal systems pulse with a faint, sickly bioluminescence, a greenish or purplish glow that indicates the ongoing chemical reactions within their bodies. The Quasil Law are a crucial, if grotesque, part of the ecosystems they inhabit. They absorb and metabolize pollutants, effectively cleaning blighted landscapes, though the process itself is horrifying to witness. They are drawn to areas of extreme contamination, thriving where almost no other life can survive. Their sheer size and insatiable appetites allow them to consume entire lakes of toxic waste or mountains of industrial refuse. The terrifying sensory experience of their feeding is unforgettable. The pervasive, stomach-churning stench of decay, industrial waste, and noxious gases that emanates from their massive forms. The sickening slurp and gurgle as their multiple mouths continuously suck in foul substances. The wet, squelching sound of their internal organs processing the waste. And the constant, low rumble of their immense bodies shifting and expanding as they consume. Their movements are ponderous and slimy, leaving trails of semi-processed sludge in their wake. The Quasil Maw stand as a stark reminder of life's astonishing adaptability, capable of not just surviving, but thriving in the most hostile and polluted corners of the galaxy, turning poison into sustenance, a living, pulsating testament to nature's grim efficiency in the face of environmental catastrophe. Moving from the environmentally critical to the militarily formidable, we find the Nagai, hailing from the distant, perpetually twilight world of Nagi. These near-humanoids are renowned throughout the galaxy for their unique physical characteristics, their fiercely disciplined warrior culture, and their unparalleled mastery of precision combat. Their physical appearance is striking, pale, almost alabaster skin, often starkly contrasted by long, dark, flowing hair and distinctively pointed ears. Their eyes are typically dark and piercing, conveying a cold, unwavering focus. Their frames are often slender, but deceptively strong and agile, their movements precise and economical. Their voices are calm, clear, and often modulated with a deliberate, almost unnerving self-control. The Nagai are a people defined by their martial arts, which emphasize speed, agility, and absolute precision. Every movement, whether in daily life or in combat, is imbued with a disciplined grace, a testament to years of rigorous training. They are masters of both bladed weapons and sophisticated personal energy shields, often fighting with a cold, almost robotic efficiency that unnerves their opponents. Their society is highly structured and meritocratic, with honor and martial prowess serving as the ultimate virtues. They are known for their unwavering resolve and their willingness to see a conflict through to its absolute conclusion. The atmosphere of their homeworld, Nagi, is one of perpetual twilight, mirroring the disciplined, often somber nature of their people. The sounds of their training dojos are a symphony of precision. The sharp swish of bladed weapons cutting through the air, the crisp thud of perfectly executed strikes against practiced dummies, the soft, rhythmic footfalls of their complex katas, and the almost silent whir of their personal energy shields activating and deactivating. In combat, these sounds are joined by the distinct clash of their weapons, the sharp crack of their shields deflecting blaster bolts, and the precise, almost surgical snap of their movements. The Nagai stand as a fearsome and respected warrior race, a testament to the power of discipline and unyielding focus, proving that true martial prowess is found not in brute strength, but in the absolute mastery of oneself and the environment. A silent, deadly force in the galactic arena. Our final stop in this section brings us to the Phelan, an enigmatic and emotionally complex reptilian species known for their unique physiology and their deep, often overwhelming telepathic empathy. Hailing from the cool, misty world of Phelan, these beings are truly fascinating examples of biological adaptation focused on subtle sensory exchange. Their physical appearance is distinctive, slender and graceful, with smooth, often iridescent scales that range in color from deep greens to blues, and large, expressive eyes that hold an ancient, knowing quality. They are cold-blooded, their metabolism intricately linked to their surrounding temperature, and their scales are uniquely adapted to absorb ambient heat, allowing them to regulate their body temperature with remarkable efficiency. Their voices are soft, almost melodic, often carrying a subtle, comforting resonance. The Phelan's most profound biological trait is their natural, often involuntary, telepathic empathy, particularly strong with warm-blooded creatures. They can sense and even share the emotions of those around them, forming deep, almost overwhelming connections. This ability makes them natural healers, counselors, and mediators, as they possess an innate understanding of suffering and joy. However, this profound empathy also makes them inherently reclusive, often retreating to secluded, cool environments to protect themselves from the overwhelming emotional noise of dense populations. Their interactions are characterized by a subtle, almost imperceptible exchange of feelings, a silent dialogue that transcends spoken words. When a Phelan engages their empathy, one might feel a sudden, profound shift in their own emotional state, a sense of their feelings being understood, or even a fleeting impression of the Phelan's own tranquil inner state. The sensory experience of being near a Phelan is one of subtle shifts. The faint, almost unheard hiss of their scales absorbing heat, the quiet, rhythmic thrum of their cool bodies, and the profound, comforting silence of their empathetic connection, where words become superfluous. Their reclusive nature and their capacity for deep, unbiased understanding make them invaluable, if rare, allies. The Phelan stand as a testament to the Force's capacity for profound connection, a species whose very biology allows them to navigate the intricate tapestry of emotion that binds all sentient life, offering a unique, silent form of healing and understanding to an often chaotic galaxy. Moving beyond the subtle empathy of the Phelan, we encounter a species whose brilliance lies In sound and unparalleled musicality, the Bith, hailing from the technologically advanced, urbanized world of Clactor 7, these humanoids are renowned throughout the galaxy for their incredibly keen senses, their profound intellectual capacity, and their unparalleled mastery of music, mathematics, and intricate engineering. Their physical appearance is distinctive. Large, bulbous heads with prominent cranial ridges, large, dark, intelligent eyes, and skin often a pale green or gray. Their mouths are small, with highly sensitive lips and vocal cords, capable of producing an astonishing range of sounds, from deep, resonant tones to high-frequency, almost imperceptible whistles. The Bith possess an extraordinary sense of hearing, capable of discerning microscopic variations in pitch, timbre, and rhythm, allowing them to perceive sound on a level incomprehensible to most other species. This acute auditory perception, combined with their innate mathematical genius, makes them natural virtuosos in music and masters of sonic engineering. They are the galaxy's foremost composers, instrument makers, and audio technicians, their creations capable of producing sounds of astonishing purity and complexity. Their cities are vibrant hubs of intellectual and artistic endeavor, filled with the constant hum of advanced technology, the harmonious chimes of intricate musical instruments, and the lively chatter of intellectual debate. Their language, complex and nuanced, is filled with intricate tonal shifts and subtle cadences that convey layers of meaning. When a Bith performs music, it is not merely entertainment. It is an experience that resonates deep within the listener, capable of evoking profound emotions or even stimulating specific neurological responses, a testament to their deep understanding of sound as a physical and emotional force. The sounds associated with the Bith are a symphony of their intellect and artistry. The precise click of their fingers on complex interfaces, the melodic whir of their self-designed musical instruments, the subtle tinkling of perfectly calibrated components, and the rich, pure resonance of their voices when they sing or speak with passion. The Bith stand as a shining example of a species whose unique biology led to an unparalleled mastery of sound, proving that intellect and artistry can shape an entire civilization, creating beauty and innovation from the unseen vibrations of the universe. From the harmonious intellect of the Bith, we transition to the ferocious and solitary nature of the Shistavanen. Hailing from the rugged, forested world of Uvena Prime, these lupine humanoids are a species renowned for their predatory instincts, their formidable physical prowess, and their fierce, independent nature. Their physical appearance is striking. Tall and powerfully built, covered in thick fur that varies from gray to brown, with distinctive, wolf-like snouts, sharp teeth, and keen, intelligent eyes that glow faintly in low light. Their ears are pointed and highly sensitive, capable of detecting the faintest sounds of prey or approaching threats. Their voices are guttural and expressive, ranging from low growls to sharp, piercing barks. The Shistavanen are natural hunters, their senses finely tuned for tracking an ambush. Their society is largely solitary, with individuals or small family units maintaining vast hunting territories, coming together only for essential communal activities. They possess an innate understanding of tracking, camouflage, and silent movement through dense terrain, making them formidable wilderness survivalists and dangerous combatants. Their martial prowess is based on raw strength, sharp claws, and powerful jaws, often combined with cunning tactics and an almost supernatural patience. When a Shistavanen hunts, their movements are silent and deliberate, a masterclass in predatory efficiency. The sounds associated with the Shistavanen are those of the wild, the soft rustle of leaves under their padded paws as they stalk through forests, the faint sniff of their sensitive noses detecting distant scents, and the sudden, explosive snarl and crunch of bone as they engage prey. In combat, these sounds are joined by the deep growl in their throats, the sharp click of their claws on hardened surfaces, and the swift tear of their powerful teeth. Their fierce independence and their prowess as hunters often lead them to careers as bounty hunters, wilderness scouts, or elite trackers. The Shistavanen stand as a powerful testament to the enduring strength of primal instinct and adaptation, a species whose very existence is a living echo of the untamed wilderness, forever reminding the galaxy of the raw, predatory beauty of Nature.next, we encounter the giving, a species whose every aspect is governed by a meticulous and obsessive understanding of mathematics, probability, and spatial geometry. Hailing from the perpetually vacuum-exposed moon of From, these skeletal, vacuum-breathing humanoids are a truly unique biological and intellectual anomaly. Their physical appearance is chillingly distinctive, tall and gaunt, resembling animated skeletons, their bodies encased in self-contained atmospheric suits that are seamlessly integrated with their physiology. Their faces are skull-like, with large, dark eye sockets and no visible noses or mouths, yet they possess complex vocalizers. Within their suits, their movements are precise and deliberate, almost robotic in their exactitude. The giving evolved on a world where the slightest miscalculation in atmospheric pressure or structural integrity meant instant death, forging within them an innate, profound genius for mathematics and engineering. They can instinctively calculate hyperdrive jump coordinates, analyze structural weaknesses, and decipher complex ciphers with astonishing speed and accuracy. Their very language is a complex series of precise mathematical equations and logical deductions, often articulated through their vocalizers as a rapid series of clicks, whirs, and resonant tones that convey perfect, unambiguous information. Their societal structure is built entirely around logic and efficiency, with every aspect of their lives governed by mathematical principles. They are master navigators, code breakers, and structural engineers, capable of designing and executing projects of immense complexity and perfect precision. The sounds associated with the giving are those of their meticulous work, the soft whir of their integrated life support systems, the rapid click and clack of their skeletal fingers on holographic displays, and the rhythmic, almost musical ping of their complex calculations resolving in their minds. Their minds are constantly processing probabilities, analyzing data, and finding optimal solutions to any problem. The giving stand as a testament to the power of logical thought and mathematical genius, a species that embodies precision in its purest form, proving that intellect can overcome even the most hostile environments, shaping their very existence into a living embodiment of perfect calculation. From the cold logic of the giving, we shift to the bustling, highly organized insectoid societies of the Geonosians. Native to the arid, rocky planet of Geonosis, these sentient insectoids are a species renowned for their vast, subterranean hive complexes, their formidable warrior drones, and their unparalleled skill in industrial manufacturing, particularly in robotics and weaponry. Their physical appearance is unmistakable. Slender, with hard, segmented exoskeletons often reddish-brown, 4 limbs, and large, compound eyes that give them excellent panoramic vision. They possess intricate, membranous wings that allow for swift, buzzing flight and a pair of antennae that constantly twitch, gathering sensory information. Their primary form of communication is a rapid, high-pitched chittering sound, interspersed with a distinctive clacking of their mandibles. The Geonosian society is a rigid caste system, divided into workers, drones, and the ruling queen, with each individual serving the collective with unwavering loyalty. Their hives are colossal, self-contained cities burrowed deep into the planet's crust, vast networks of tunnels, caverns, and enormous factory floors that hum with ceaseless activity. The sounds of a Geonosian hive are a constant, industrious cacophony. The pervasive, high-pitched buzz of countless wings, the rhythmic clatter of their mandibles as they communicate, the sharp clang of metal on metal from their endless factories, and the distant, deeper thrum of their energy generators, powering their vast industrial complexes. They are master engineers and manufacturers, their assembly lines churning out thousands of droids and weapons with astonishing speed and efficiency, making them a crucial, if often morally ambiguous, supplier in the galactic arms trade. Their warrior drones are fierce and relentless, attacking in swarms, their blasters firing with a distinctive, rapid snap. The atmosphere of their hives is hot, dry, and filled with the metallic scent of industry and the earthy smell of their excavated tunnels. The Geonosians stand as a testament to the power of collective effort and industrial might, a species that built an entire civilization underground, a buzzing, clattering hive of unwavering industry and formidable military strength. proving the terrifying efficiency of a unified purpose. From the industrious, buzzing hives of the Geonosians, we turn to a species whose very biology is a symphony, or a shattering cacophony, the Tlandatil. Hailing from the arid, windswept world of Tland, these formidable bipeds are renowned across the galaxy for their unique and incredibly complex vocal physiology, which grants them an unparalleled mastery over sonic manipulation. Their physical appearance is striking, tall and robust, with leathery, wrinkled skin, and most notably, multiple vocal sacs arrayed around their throats and chests. These sacs pulsate and vibrate with their every utterance, allowing them to produce an astonishing range of overlapping frequencies and resonant tones. Their eyes are deep-set and intelligent, often conveying a profound understanding of subtle vibrations. Their language is a complex interplay of harmonies and dissonances, a living tapestry of interwoven sounds that convey not just meaning, but raw emotional and even physical impact. The Tlandatil society is highly structured and deeply reliant on this sonic ability. They categorize all sound, and by extension, all social interactions, into concepts of harmony and dissonance. A perfectly articulated harmony can soothe, calm, and even persuade, creating deep bonds of trust and cooperation. Conversely, a deliberate dissonance can disorient, cause pain, and even shatter the will, functioning as a potent weapon or a means of absolute control. They use their sonic mastery in every aspect of their lives, to communicate with startling nuance, to build and shape their cities through resonant frequency manipulation, and most terrifyingly, to enforce social order or to engage in combat. When a Tlandatil projects its full sonic power, the effects are overwhelming. The air itself vibrates with an intense, localized pressure wave, causing internal organs to resonate painfully, eardrums to throb, and teeth to chatter uncontrollably. The sounds associated with the Tlandatil are an immersive, often terrifying experience. The constant, underlying thrum of their vocal sacs, a low, powerful resonance that permeates the air. The intricate, almost melodic hum of their everyday conversation, layered with subtle tonal shifts. And when angered or asserting dominance, the shattering screech or the deep, guttural roar of pure sonic force, capable of inducing intense physical discomfort or even neurological disruption. Their unique biology makes them formidable diplomats and terrifying enforcers, a species whose very voice is a potent instrument of influence and destruction, proving that the most profound power can be found not in physical might, but in the subtle manipulation of vibration and sound, shaping reality itself with a whisper or a roar. From the complex sonic world of the Tlandatil, we shift to beings of unimaginable physical scale and destructive power, the Flog. Hailing from the colossal, primeval world of Flog, these creatures are the galaxy's ultimate living battering rams, colossal behemoths whose unique biology allows them to absorb kinetic energy and apply it with devastating force. Their physical appearance is awe-inspiring and terrifying. Resembling immensely muscular, quadrupedal rhinos or hippos, Flogs stand hundreds of meters tall, their bodies covered in thick, heavily armored hides that are incredibly dense and resilient, often mottled with earthy tones that blend into their titanic landscapes. Their heads are massive, crowned with multiple blunt horns, and their eyes are surprisingly small, reflecting their reliance on raw power over keen sight. Their movements are ponderous but unstoppable, each step shaking the very ground. Their voices are deep, resonant bellows, capable of carrying for kilometers. The Flog's biology is perfectly adapted for absorbing and delivering immense kinetic impacts. Their skeletal structures are incredibly dense, almost metallic, and their musculature is intertwined with layers of shock-absorbing cartilage and fluid-filled sacs, allowing them to withstand impacts that would pulverize starships. When they charge, their immense mass combined with their innate ability to channel their raw physical power makes them literally unstoppable, capable of smashing through reinforced bunkers or leveling entire forests. They exist as living forces of nature, often migrating in small herds across their vast homeworld, their passage reshaping the landscape. The terrifying sensory experience of their movements is profound. The deep, ground-shaking thud of their colossal footfalls, a rhythmic tremor that vibrates through the earth and air, the loud, guttural bellow of their calls, echoing across vast distances. The sound of immense trees snapping like twigs as they are swept aside, and the sickening crunch of rock and earth pulverizing beneath their incredible weight. In combat, these sounds are joined by the explosive crack of their horns hitting structures, and the resonant boom of their sheer physical impact. Flogs are a primal force, revered and feared, a testament to evolution's capacity for creating unstoppable physical dominance, proving that sometimes the most sophisticated weapon is simply overwhelming, irresistible mass, a living engine of destruction born from pure strength. Next, we encounter the Yarkora, an ancient and highly distinct species known for their profound merchant culture, their incredible memory, and their unique physical characteristics. Hailing from the bustling, trade-focused world of Yarkora, these beings are instantly recognizable. Their physical appearance is elephantine, with stout, powerful bodies, thick, wrinkled hides often a grayish-green, and 4 robust, pillar-like legs ending in broad feet. Their faces are dominated by powerful, prehensile trunks with multiple manipulators and large, intelligent eyes that convey an end. The Yarkora have an almost eidetic memory, capable of recalling countless transactions, intricate trade routes, and complex financial agreements with perfect accuracy. This unparalleled memory, combined with their natural shrewdness and patience, has made them one of the galaxy's most successful and respected merchant species. Their culture revolves around trade, negotiation, and the meticulous keeping of records. They are master hagglers, capable of discerning the slightest deception or opportunity, and their word is considered their bond once an agreement is reached. Their unique physiology, with multiple limbs and a versatile trunk, allows them to handle multiple items simultaneously, count credits with astonishing speed, and even sign contracts with ornate flourishes. The sounds of a Yarkora market are a vibrant symphony of commerce, the deep, resonant rumble of their conversations, layered with the rhythmic thump of goods being placed and sorted, the soft, precise rustle of credits changing hands, and the occasional, triumphant trumpet of a successful negotiation. Their natural patience allows them to engage in prolonged, intricate bartering sessions, exploring every possible angle. The Yarkora stand as a powerful testament to the strength of intellect, memory, and an unwavering dedication to commerce. A species that built its civilization on trust and trade, proving that wealth and influence can be amassed not through conquest, but through the astute and honest exchange of goods and ideas, a living embodiment of the galactic economy. Finally, we arrive at the graceful, yet formidable Psychiatry. Hailing from the breathtaking, windswept moon of Kourou, these avian humanoids are a species renowned for their spectacular wings, their mastery of aerial combat, and their deeply spiritual connection to the skies of their homeworld. Their physical appearance is slender and elegant, with light, hollow bones covered in iridescent feathers that shimmer with colors ranging from deep blues to vibrant greens. They possess powerful, membranous wings that span several meters, allowing for breathtaking agility and speed in flight. Their faces are avian, with large, expressive eyes and a small, delicate beak, though they possess fully functional, articulate hands. Their primary form of communication is a series of complex whistles, melodious calls, and sharp, piercing screeches, capable of conveying intricate messages over vast distances. The Psychiatry spend much of their lives in the air, their cities often built into the sides of immense cliffs or within soaring spires, designed for easy ingress and egress by flying individuals. Their culture is deeply spiritual, revering the wind, the sky, and the freedom of flight as sacred aspects of their existence. They are formidable warriors, their martial traditions entirely centered on aerial combat, using their incredible maneuverability and sharp talons to outmaneuver and engage enemies in three-dimensional space. They can dive with incredible speed, execute dizzying loops, and engage targets with astonishing precision while in flight. The sounds associated with the Psychiatry are those of the skies, the powerful whoosh and thrum of their vast wings beating the air, the rhythmic swoosh of their bodies cutting through wind currents, and the high-pitched whistle of their long-range communications. In combat, These sounds are joined by the piercing shriek of their battle cries as they descend from above, a sharp snap of their talons, and the resonant whine of air against their aerodynamic forms. Their innate grace and mastery of flight make them both beautiful and terrifying to behold, a living embodiment of the wind itself. The psychiatry stand as a profound testament to biological adaptation to a specific environment, a species that built an entire civilization in the skies, proving that some of the galaxy's most compelling life forms are those that truly conquer the vertical world, forever soaring, forever free. Part 4. Ancient Weapons and Artifacts. Throughout the Star Wars galaxy, the echoes of forgotten ages resonate not just in crumbling ruins or whispered legends, but in the tangible forms of ancient weapons and artifacts. These relics, often infused with the raw power of the Force, or crafted by civilizations with technological prowess far beyond modern comprehension, represent both the zenith of past ingenuity and the depths of ancient depravity. They are instruments of immense power, capable of shaping destinies, shattering worlds, and forever altering the balance of the cosmic struggle between light and darkness. The Rakatan Star Forge at the apex of such ancient, terrifying power stands. The Rakatan Star Forge, not merely a weapon, but an unfathomable force-powered factory of immense, stellar scale. The Star Forge was the heart of the Infinite Empire, a construct of such cosmic horror that it defied conventional understanding. It was literally built around a star, drawing its energy directly from the star's raging core and converting it, through unimaginable force alchemy, into an endless supply of warships, droids, and weapons. Its true terror lay in its method of fueling this production. It absorbed not just stellar energy, but the very life force of captured sentient beings. Planets were ravaged, civilizations enslaved, their populations systematically fed into this monstrous machine, their living essence twisted and consumed to churn out the engines of the Rakatan's tyrannical expansion. Visually, the Star Forge was a maelstrom of light and shadow, a swirling vortex of energy and construction. Colossal platforms, connected by arcs of raw power, orbited the captive star, their surfaces crawling with automated construction drones and the grim, skeletal forms of the Rakatan overlords. The sensory experience of being near the Star Forge was overwhelming. The pervasive, deep hum of the enslaved star, a resonant vibration that permeated bone and flesh, accompanied by the constant high-pitched whine of energy transfer conduits, and the sickening, almost subliminal screams of countless stolen life forces being consumed, a profound, chilling chorus of galactic suffering. The air itself crackled with static electricity, heavy with the metallic tang of newly forged durasteel and the acrid smell of burnt life energy. Every newly constructed starship or droid emerged imbued with a dark, unsettling force resonance, a grim testament to its origins. The Starforge was the ultimate expression of dark side corruption, a machine that turned life into death and stars into tools, a monument to a galactic empire built on the most horrifying form of slavery imaginable, a living engine of tyranny that nearly consumed the galaxy. Infinite Empire technologies, flowing directly from the malevolent genius of the Rakatan Infinite Empire, were their terrifying suite of Infinite Empire technologies. Instruments specifically designed to weaponize and siphon the very essence of the Force, twisting its power to their will. First, the Thought Harvesters. These were not physical weapons, but insidious force devices, often integrated into Rakatan architecture or carried by their advanced droids. Their purpose was to drain the intellectual and mental capacities of sentient beings. When activated, a Thought Harvester would emit a subtle, almost imperceptible force field that would slowly, inexorably leach away a victim's memories, their cognitive abilities, and ultimately their very sanity, leaving behind only an empty, vegetative husk. The psychological impact was devastating. Victims would first experience confusion, then memory loss, followed by profound disorientation, and, finally, a terrifying descent into madness or profound mental void. The sounds associated with a Thought Harvester were almost non-existent to the physical ear, yet profoundly impactful to the mind. A high-pitched, almost subliminal whine that seemed to resonate directly in the brain, accompanied by the faint, almost silent snap of neural pathways being severed, and the terrifying internal silence as memories and thoughts simply cease to be. Second, the Force Harvesters. These were more overt and equally horrifying, designed to literally siphon the Force energy from Force sensitives, often resembling large metallic sarcophagi or intricate Force altars. These devices would bind a Force sensitive, slowly and agonizingly draining their connection to the Force, leaving them completely bereft of their abilities, often leading to rapid physical and mental deterioration. The process was agonizing and irreversible. The sensory details were harrowing. The sickening hum of the siphoning apparatus, the anguished screams and gasps of the Force sensitive being drained, and the profound, chilling silence that followed as their connection to the Force was severed, leaving them an empty shell. The air around a Force harvester would feel cold and dead, devoid of any Force presence. Third, and perhaps most infamous, was the Dark Reaper, a massive, ancient Sith superweapon originally built by the Sith Lord Exar Kun, but its design was later revealed to have been inspired by, or possibly even directly reverse-engineered from, Rakatan Force siphoning technology. This colossal war machine was designed to drain the life force and Force energy from entire planets, consolidating it into a devastating energy blast. The Dark Reaper was a truly monstrous device, resembling a colossal, dark mechanical skull, its maw capable of absorbing the essence of worlds. Its activation would cause a planet's atmosphere to shimmer and distort, its land to wither, and its inhabitants to rapidly age and die, their life essence being funneled into the weapon. The sounds of the Dark Reaper's activation were terrifying, a deep, resonant roar that vibrated through the very ground of the target planet, accompanied by the chilling scream of billions of dying life forces being consumed, and the building, high-pitched whine of energy coalescing into a destructive beam. Its impact would leave behind a barren, lifeless husk of a world, forever scarred by the ultimate act of cosmic vampirism. These Rakatan technologies represent the pinnacle of Force corruption, weapons that preyed on the very essence of life and consciousness, turning the Force itself into a tool for unimaginable destruction and depravity. The Sun Forger moving, from instruments of planetary consumption to those of stellar manipulation, we discover the Sun Forger. This was a distinct, Force-powered weapon or tool of unknown ancient origin, separate from the Rakatan Starforge, despite its similar name. The Sun Forger was a smaller, more focused device, often taking the form of an oversized Force pike or a complex staff, requiring a powerful Force sensitive to wield it. Its true purpose and ultimate power lay in its ability to harness and project concentrated solar energy, drawing directly from a star's corona, or even from ambient stellar radiation. It was a terrifyingly dangerous instrument, capable of both immense creative and destructive output. When activated, the Sun Forger would glow with an intense, blinding light, radiating immense heat. It could be used to cauterize wounds, to cut through thick durasteel like a lightsaber, or, in its most devastating application, to project concentrated blasts of solar plasma, incinerating targets instantly. The visual effects were spectacular and terrifying. Brilliant arcs of pure solar energy would erupt from its emitter, shimmering with the colors of a miniature star. The sounds generated by the Sun Forger were equally distinct, a high-pitched, resonant humming that would quickly escalate into a deafening roar as it charged, followed by a searing crackle and hiss as its energy discharge vaporized its target, leaving behind only a faint, lingering smell of ozone and superheated air. Its unstable nature meant that prolonged use could be perilous for the wielder, potentially overheating or even exploding in a catastrophic release of energy. The Sun Forger stands as a powerful testament to the forgotten knowledge of harnessing stellar power, a unique and dangerous artifact that offered its wielder the terrifying ability to unleash the fury of a sun, a literal piece of cosmic fire. At their command, the Darksaber finally returned to one of the most iconic and distinct ancient artifacts, a weapon born of darkness and unique design, the Darksaber. Unlike standard lightsabers, the Darksaber was a singular, ancient weapon, a black-bladed lightsaber with a unique history and properties, intimately tied to the Mandalorian culture and its leadership. Its blade was not a conventional glowing beam, but a flat black energy field, almost like a void, with a crackling white edge, giving it the appearance of a solid, physical sword rather than a light blade. Its unique visual appearance immediately set it apart, making it instantly recognizable and deeply symbolic. The Darksaber possessed several distinctive properties that went beyond a normal lightsaber. Its flat blade allowed for unique combat techniques, making it capable of deflecting blaster bolts with astonishing precision and even cutting through force-resistant materials with greater ease than a standard lightsaber. It was also capable of absorbing energy, subtly draining force fields, or even the energy of other lightsabers upon impact. Its most unique feature, however, was its distinctive sound, a low, menacing hum that resonated with a deeper, more guttural tone than a standard lightsaber, accompanied by a subtle, almost electric crackle that pulsed from its black blade. This sound was unique to the weapon, instantly identifiable and deeply unsettling to those who recognized its dark legacy. The Darksaber also had a profound symbolic significance. For centuries, it served as a symbol of leadership for the Mandalorians, its ownership often dictating who held authority over their clans. Its very presence conveyed a sense of ancient power and dark lineage, a weapon forged in conflict and steeped in the Force, embodying both destructive capability and the weight of history. The Darksaber stands as a powerful intersection of ancient Force knowledge and cultural heritage, a truly unique weapon whose iconic appearance, chilling sound, and profound symbolism made it far more than just a blade. It was a living piece of history, always humming with a low, dangerous resonance. The Force lance from the iconic and symbolic Darksaber. Our exploration of ancient implements of power continues to a more direct, yet equally devastating, Force conduit, the Force lance. Unlike the lightsaber, which channeled the Force into a blade, the Force lance was a weapon designed to project raw, unadulterated Force energy as a concentrated blast. These ancient artifacts were typically long, ornate staves, often crafted from rare, Force-receptive materials, culminating in an emitter head that glowed with a latent, powerful energy. Wielding a Force lance required immense skill and a profound connection to the Force, as the wielder literally became a conduit for destructive power, channeling their own Force reserves directly through the artifact. When activated, the Force lance would hum with a deep, resonant vibration that could be felt through the ground, building to a terrifying crescendo as energy was drawn. It could project bolts of raw Force energy, telekinetic shocks, or concentrated blasts of destructive power, capable of shattering rock, rending starship hulls, or pulverizing living targets instantly. The visual effects were spectacular and terrifying. Arcs of pure, crackling Force energy would erupt from the lance's tip, shimmering with intense blues, purples, or reds, depending on the wielder's alignment and the energy channeled. The sounds associated with the Force lance were a powerful testament to its destructive potential. A deep, escalating roar as it charged, followed by a searing crackle and snap as the energy bolt was discharged, leaving behind a lingering smell of ozone and burnt matter. Its usage demanded extreme focus and discipline, as an uncontrolled burst could be as dangerous to the wielder as to their target. The Force lance stands as a prime example of a weapon that bypassed conventional technology, drawing directly on the cosmic energy itself, an ancient tool of immense, raw power that could unleash the untamed fury of the Force with a single, devastating thrust. Force imbued battle armor. From weapons of pure energy, we turn to defenses imbued with formidable power. Force imbued battle armor. These were not merely enhanced suits of plating. They were artifacts of Sith alchemy and ancient Force rituals designed to protect the most powerful dark side users while simultaneously amplifying their destructive capabilities. Legendary examples include the formidable armor worn by Exar Kun and other powerful Sith lords from millennia past. Such armors were typically forged from dark, heavy metals, often integrated with Sith crystals or etched with ancient dark side glyphs. Their appearance was always menacing, designed to intimidate and project an aura of overwhelming power. The process of creating these armors involved long, grueling Sith alchemy rituals, often requiring dark sacrifices and a deep immersion in Forbidden's Force lore. Once completed, the armor was alive with dark side energy, forming a protective shell that was almost impervious to conventional weaponry and remarkably resistant to direct force attacks. Beyond mere protection, these armors possessed crucial force-enhancing properties. They could amplify the wearer's dark side powers, allowing them to channel stronger force lightning, execute more devastating force pushes, or maintain powerful force illusions for extended periods. They also offered a degree of protection against force drain and mental intrusion, acting as a psychic shield. The sensory effects of encountering such armor were palpable: a pervasive chill in the air, a faint, almost imperceptible hum of dark energy emanating from its surface, and the unsettling scrape of metal against metal, sounding far heavier and more resonant than mere durasteel. Their menacing appearance, often adorned with sharp angles, jagged edges, or snarling visages, was a deliberate design to inspire fear. The force-imbued battle armor stands as a chilling testament to the fusion of dark side sorcery and craftsmanship, creating a defense that was also an offense, a living conduit for terror and destructive power, forever amplifying the might of its Sith wearer. Holocron shifting from physical armaments to repositories of ancient knowledge, we find the ubiquitous, yet profoundly mysterious holocrons. These force-powered data storage devices were the primary means by which both the Jedi and Sith preserved their most sacred teachings, historical records, and dangerous secrets for millennia. Physically, holocrons varied in design. Jedi holocrons, typically manifested as geometric polyhedrons, often crystalline and glowing with a soft, ethereal light, while Sith holocrons were frequently more angular, often taking on sinister dark forms, sometimes resembling skulls or other ominous shapes, and radiating a faint, cold energy. Regardless of their appearance, they were exquisitely crafted and incredibly durable, capable of surviving for vast stretches of time. The method of accessing information within a holocron required direct force-sensitive interaction. Only a force user could activate a holocron, prompting it to project a holographic image of its guardian or gatekeeper, a sentient force projection imbued with the personality and knowledge of its creator. These gatekeepers would then interact with the user, imparting knowledge, posing riddles, or testing the user's resolve, ensuring that the information was received responsibly, or, in the case of Sith holocrons, only by those deemed worthy of the dark side's secrets. The sounds associated with a holocron were unique: the soft, almost imperceptible hum of its internal force mechanisms, the gentle click as its segments shifted, and the distinctive, often echoing voice of its holographic guardian, their words, imbued with the wisdom or malevolence of ages. Their invaluable role lay in their ability to preserve ancient knowledge, acting as living libraries that could educate, inspire, or corrupt subsequent generations of Force users. They were more than just data storage. They were living echoes of their creators, holding the very essence of ancient teachings within their shimmering forms, proving that knowledge itself, when infused with the Force, can become an artifact of immense power. The Dark Staff family we consider a dark side artifact designed for insidious manipulation rather than overt destruction. The Dark Staff. This was not a weapon in the traditional sense, but a powerful ancient dark side ritual artifact, typically taking the form of an ominous, gnarled staff crafted from dark wood or solidified dark side energy, often adorned with grim, unsettling carvings or dark crystals. Its chilling appearance immediately conveyed its malevolent purpose, radiating a palpable sense of dread and decay. The Dark Staff's primary function was to siphon life force from living beings, not for consumption like the Dark Reaper, but to fuel dark side rituals, strengthen the wielder, or to create localized dark side energies that corrupted the surrounding environment. It acted as a conduit for pure despair and spiritual malaise, turning vibrant spaces into desolate wastelands. When activated, the Dark Staff would absorb light and warmth, causing a noticeable drop in temperature and an eerie silence in its immediate vicinity. The disturbing effects on its surroundings were profound. Plants would wither and die. Force-sensitive individuals would feel an oppressive weight of despair and weakness, and the very air would become heavy with a palpable sense of dread. The sounds associated with the dark staff were chillingly subtle. A low, almost imperceptible sucking sound as it drew in life force. A faint, resonant whisper that seemed to echo with the despair of its victims, and the unsettling creak of its gnarled form, as if alive with malevolence. Its insidious nature made it a truly terrifying artifact, capable of slowly corrupting an entire area, draining the vitality from its inhabitants without a single direct strike. The Dark Staff stands as a testament to the dark side's capacity for insidious, pervasive corruption, proving that some of the most dangerous weapons are those that destroy not with a blast, but with a slow, agonizing drain, leaving behind only emptiness and despair. Ancient forms of lightsabers and kyber crystals. From the hallowed tranquility of the Jedi temples, we return to the realm of weapons, exploring the diverse and often specialized forms that predated or diverged from the standard lightsaber, and even those designed to counter it. First, the iconic, yet endlessly varied, lightsaber itself. While commonly known, its ancient forms and the unique properties imparted by different crystals reveal layers of forgotten history and intricate craftsmanship. Early lightsabers, far from the standardized hilts of the Republic era, often had larger power packs, required external power sources, or featured more rudimentary focusing lenses. Their forms were diverse, reflecting the unique fighting styles and philosophies of their creators. From curved hilts designed for aggressive slashing to double-bladed staffs for intricate defensive maneuvers, the true heart of any lightsaber, however, lay in its unique crystals, particularly the rare and force-attuned kyber crystals. These living crystals, whether naturally occurring or synthetically grown, determined the color, resonance, and even the unique properties of a lightsaber's blade. Each crystal possessed a distinct connection to the Force, influencing the blade's harmonic hum, its cutting power, and its subtle feedback to the wielder. A naturally grown kyber crystal might resonate with a pure, harmonious hum, its blade a stable, vibrant green or blue, providing clear feedback to the Force wielder. Conversely, a synthetically grown red kyber crystal, forged through dark side rituals, would emanate a more aggressive, angry hiss and crackle, its blade a violent crimson, often feeling hot and unstable in the wielder's hand, corrupting them over time. Some crystals imparted unique qualities, like the ability to subtly disrupt electronics or to generate a wider, more unstable blade. The sounds associated with ancient lightsabers were as varied as their forms and crystals. The classic hum of the blade igniting, followed by the steady thrum of its sustained energy field, punctuated by the sharp snarl and crackle of clash as blades met, or the distinctive hiss as it cut through material, often leaving a smell of ozone or burnt residue. The lightsaber, in all its forms and crystal variations, remains the ultimate symbol of the Force, a tool of both peace and destruction, a testament to the intricate fusion of technology and mysticism. Kashimir swords moving from the energy blades to more primitive, yet equally effective, ancient weaponry, we find the Kashimir swords. These were not lightsabers, but unique, non-energy bladed weapons used by the Force-sensitive warriors of the Kashi, Mer culture on the planet Kashi. What made these swords remarkable was their creation through a unique Force-forging process, where the blade itself was imbued with Force energy during its construction, making it exceptionally durable, incredibly sharp, and subtly resistant to the energies of Force powers. They were typically broadswords, often single-edged, with ornate hilts that were designed for a secure, two-handed grip, reflecting the martial arts style of the Kashimir. Their physical appearance was that of masterfully crafted metallic blades, their surfaces often shimmering faintly or possessing a subtle, dark sheen, almost as if absorbing light. The Kashimir swords were renowned for their ability to cut through standard metals with ease, and, more importantly, to resist or even deflect Force powers to a limited degree. A Force push might have less effect, or a Force lightning bolt might dissipate upon contact, making them formidable against Force wielders who relied solely on their powers. The sounds associated with the Kashimir sword were entirely physical. The clean, sharp shiiing as it was drawn from its scabbard, the deep, resonant clang as it met metal or deflected a blaster bolt, and the subtle, almost imperceptible hum that seemed to emanate from the blade itself as it resonated with its force-imbued core. A low vibration felt more than heard. Their use in combat was a fluid, powerful dance of precision and strength, often aimed at disarming or dismembering opponents with swift, decisive strikes. The Kashimir swords stand as a powerful testament to the ingenuity of ancient cultures in leveraging the Force, not just for direct application, but for enhancing mundane tools into truly extraordinary weapons, proving that even non-energy blades could stand against the might of the Force. Quena Blade, in a similar vein of non-energy, Force-enhanced weaponry, we encounter the Quena Blade. This was another ancient and incredibly rare Force-imbued weapon, distinct from the Kashimir sword in its appearance and the subtlety of its powers. The Quena Blade was typically a shorter ceremonial dagger or a slender single-edged shortsword, often crafted from an unknown dark metallic alloy that seemed to absorb ambient light. Its surface was unnervingly smooth and devoid of adornment, its simplicity adding to its mysterious and potent aura. What made the Quena Blade unique was its unsettling ability to disrupt the Force connection of any living being it wounded, even if only superficially. A mere graze from the Quena Blade would cause a Force sensitive to feel a sudden, jarring disconnect from the Force, a profound sense of emptiness and vulnerability that could last for hours or even days. This disruption was not permanent, but it was deeply unsettling and highly incapacitating for Force users, effectively rendering them powerless. The blade also possessed an unusual quality of being preternaturally silent. It produced no audible sound when drawn or wielded, making it an ideal weapon for assassins or silent infiltrators. The sensory experience of a Quena Blade was subtle yet terrifying. The absolute silence as it moved through the air, almost unnerving in its lack of sound, followed by the sickening zeep as it cut through flesh, and the profound, chilling emptiness felt by the Force-sensitive victim as their connection was suddenly severed, leaving a void where their power once flowed. The Quena Blade stands as a testament to ancient, insidious craftsmanship, a weapon that targeted not the body, but the very soul of a Force user, proving that the most effective weapons are sometimes those that cause the least physical harm, yet inflict the most profound spiritual damage, a truly terrifying artifact of subtle Force disruption. Kurtosis. From these Force-imbued weapons, we move to a material specifically developed to counter Force-based attacks, kurtosis. This rare, naturally occurring mineral was highly prized throughout galactic history for its extraordinary Force-dampening properties and its unique ability to short-circuit lightsaber blades. Visually, kurtosis ore often appeared as a dark, fibrous crystalline material, sometimes with a subtle metallic sheen. When refined and woven into armor or weapons, it retained its distinctive dark, often dull, appearance, its surface seemingly absorbing light. Kurtosis was invaluable because when a lightsaber blade struck it, the superheated plasma of the blade would cause a unique chemical reaction in the kurtosis, temporarily overloading and short-circuiting the lightsaber's energy cell, causing its blade to flicker and deactivate. This made kurtosis armor or weapons extremely dangerous for Force users relying on lightsabers, effectively disarming them in close combat. Beyond this, kurtosis also possessed a subtle Force-dampening effect. A large enough concentration could slightly disrupt Force powers in its immediate vicinity, making it harder for Force sensitives to concentrate or effectively use their abilities. The sounds associated with kurtosis were distinct. The sharp, metallic clang as a lightsaber blade struck it, followed by the immediate, disconcerting hiss and pop of the lightsaber shorting out, and the accompanying flicker of its blade extinguishing, leaving behind a subtle smell of ozone. Its rarity and the difficulty in refining it made kurtosis a highly sought-after material, particularly by groups wishing to counter Jedi or Sith. Kurtosis stands as a powerful testament to the ingenuity of those who sought to create a defense against the Force, a material that could neutralize the galaxy's most iconic weapon, proving that even the most formidable power can be countered by a carefully chosen substance. The Vong world-ship from the Force-dampening properties of kurtosis. We confront an entirely different and far more unsettling category of ancient weapon, the Vong worldship. Long before their devastating invasion of the galaxy, the early forms of these colossal vessels represented a radical departure from conventional starship design. The Yuuzhan Vong, a species utterly divorced from the Force and disdainful of technology, developed bioengineered creations for every aspect of their civilization, and their worldships were the ultimate expression of this philosophy. These were not constructed from metal and circuits, but grown from living organisms, vast, sentient starships that pulsed with an alien, disturbing life. Their forms were organic, bulbous, and asymmetrical, covered in pulsating biological armor, and often trailing long, whip-like tendrils, resembling colossal, parasitic leviathans drifting through the void. The growth processes of a Vong worldship were slow and deliberate, overseen by master shaper mystics who guided the biological evolution of the vessel, coaxing it into its desired form and function. Internally, a worldship was a nightmare of pulsating flesh, organic conduits, and living, breathing compartments. Its weaponry was entirely biological. Launch tubes that propelled living, acid-spitting corals, or biomechanical weapons that fired. Concussive blasts of sonic energy generated by internal organs. A worldship's most terrifying characteristic, however, was its unique resistance to the Force. Due to the Yuuzhan, Vong's extragalactic origin and their species' fundamental inability to connect with the Force, their creations, including worldships, existed in a state of unsettling void within the Force. This made them immune to conventional Force powers like pushes, pulls, or lightning, rendering Jedi and Sith tactics utterly ineffective. The unsettling sensory experience of being aboard one was profound. The pervasive, cloying smell of organic matter, alien flora, and a faintly metallic, almost blood-like odor. The constant, low squelch and pulse of living membranes and internal organs. The rhythmic slip-slop of biological fluids circulating through unseen channels. And the faint, high-pitched wail of the ship's internal navigation organs, guiding it through space. The air itself felt thick and humid, saturated with an unnerving biological warmth. The Vong worldships, even in their early forms, were a testament to a terrifyingly alien approach to warfare, a living weapon system that redefined the very nature of conflict, proving that true resistance could come from existing entirely outside the known laws of the galaxy. The mind trap from the macro scale. Horror of a living starship. We shrink our focus to a compact, yet equally terrifying, dark side artifact, the mind trap. This ancient Sith artifact was a small, often unassuming device, typically a fist-sized sphere or an intricate crystalline polyhedron, frequently adorned with unsettling Sith glyphs or small, embedded dark side crystals. Its physical appearance might seem innocuous, even beautiful, but its purpose was utterly malevolent, to capture and imprison the consciousness of sentient beings. The mind trap was the ultimate tool for silencing dissent, extracting information, or simply inflicting eternal torment on a victim. Its method of operation was purely force-based psychic imprisonment. Once activated by a powerful dark side user and brought into proximity with a target, the mind trap would emit a subtle, almost imperceptible force field that would latch onto the victim's mind, tearing their consciousness from their physical body and pulling it into the artifact. The victim's body would collapse into a vegetative state, while their living mind was trapped within the artifact, unable to interact with the outside world, yet fully aware of its predicament. The horrifying fate of those caught within it was prolonged conscious torment. They would exist in a state of perpetual sensory deprivation, unable to move, speak, or perceive anything beyond the confines of the trap, often slowly descending into madness. The chilling sensory aspects of its effect were subtle yet devastating. The sudden, profound silence as a victim's thoughts were forcibly removed. The feeling of a cold, profound void opening in the air where their consciousness once resided. And, for Force sensitives, a distant, ethereal scream echoing within the Force, a sound of pure mental anguish being ripped away. The mind trap was a chilling testament to the dark side's capacity for psychological torture, proving that sometimes the most effective prison is one that holds not the body, but the very essence of a sentient being, forever. The Sith gauntlet expanding. On artifacts that enhance dark side power, we find the Sith Gauntlet. This was not a standardized piece of armor, but a potent, individually crafted dark side artifact, often unique to the Sith Lord who commissioned or created it. Physically, a Sith Gauntlet was an ornate, heavy glove or a full arm casing, typically forged from dark, resistant metals, adorned with sharp claws, wicked spikes, or intricate Sith glyphs that glowed faintly with malevolent energy. Its design was always menacing, reflecting the brutal power it was meant to channel. The Sith Gauntlet was designed to fit a powerful Force sensitive, acting as a conduit and amplifier for their dark side abilities. Its Force-enhancing properties were formidable. It could amplify Force lightning, allowing for bolts of greater intensity and reach. It could magnify telekinetic powers, turning a casual Force push into a devastating wave. And it could offer significant protection against Force attacks, deflecting or absorbing hostile energies. Some gauntlets were even rumored to grant the wearer new, horrifying abilities, such as localized Force drain or the ability to conjure dark side illusions, with unsettling realism. Its corrupting influence was subtle but pervasive. Prolonged wearing would slowly twist the wearer's mind, pushing them deeper into dark side tendencies, amplifying their aggression, paranoia, and lust for power. The sensory experience of wearing or encountering a Sith Gauntlet was intense, a pervasive chill emanating from its surface, despite any ambient temperature, a faint, almost sickly hum of dark energy that resonated with the wearer's own Force signature, and the subtle, rhythmic pulse of the dark side energy coursing through it, making the wearer's hand feel unnaturally heavy and powerful. In combat, the gauntlet would crackle with overcharged Force lightning or emit a deep, resonating thump as it amplified a physical strike. The Sith Gauntlet stands as a chilling testament to the dark side's capacity for empowering its adherents, fusing technology and sorcery into an artifact that not only protected, but truly unleashed the destructive potential of its wearer, a weapon that corrupted as it empowered. Finally, we close this part with a uniquely horrifying ancient creation that blurs the line between weapon, artifact, and living horror. Lord Nyax. He wasn't born naturally, but was a terrifying, singular creation of ancient dark side alchemy and biological engineering, an abomination brought into being by the Sith Lord Exar Kun and later repurposed by the Imperial Remnant. Lord Nyax was a grotesque and perpetually evolving being, a living manifestation of dark side consumption and assimilation. His physical appearance was a nightmarish fusion of organic and inorganic matter, a massive, constantly shifting entity, composed of salvaged droids, twisted flesh, and cybernetic implants, all held together by a potent, malevolent Force will. He had no fixed form, constantly growing and changing as he absorbed more material, often resembling a colossal, multi-limbed abomination of metal and muscle, with glowing red photoreceptors and the stench of decay. Lord Nyax's Force abilities were entirely focused on consumption and assimilation. He could extend tendrils of dark side energy and physical mass to literally absorb and incorporate organic beings and technological constructs into his own ever-growing body, drawing their essence and power into himself. He didn't merely destroy, he devoured and integrated, adding their strength to his own grotesque form. His presence radiated pure malice and a profound sense of unnaturalness, a pervasive evil that warped the air around him. The horrific sensory details of his presence and attacks were overwhelming, the sickening squelch and grind of metal and flesh fusing, the low, guttural moan of his monstrous form shifting and expanding, the constant, wet slurp and crunch as he assimilated new material, and the pervasive, cloying smell of ozone, burnt wiring, and decaying flesh that clung to the air around him. For Force sensitives, his presence was a chilling void, a place where life was unmade and consumed, a profound sense of spiritual dread. Lord Nyax stands as the ultimate living ancient weapon, a testament to the dark side's capacity for creating self-perpetuating abominations, proving that the most terrifying artifacts can be those that live, breathe, and endlessly consume. An ever-growing nightmare fueled by pure, unadulterated malevolence. The Star Wars galaxy, we have learned, is far more intricate and mysterious than any single narrative can fully capture. It is a realm of infinite possibilities, profound dangers, and boundless wonders. A cosmic canvas upon which life, power, and ancient legacies continually unfold.